like -4 degrees, and I get what you're saying. I just really don't want to hear it right now. Can you shut up for like once in your life? Listen to me. I took your nice words of advice about how you think I'm gonna die lucky if I turn 33. Okay, so yeah, I smoke like a chimney. I'm not skinny and I pull a Britney every other week. But cut me some slack. Who do you want me to be? 'Cause I'm too messy and then I'm too fucking clean. You told me get a job and you asked where the hell I've been. And I'm too perfect till I open my big mouth. I want to be me. Is that not allowed? And I'm too clever and then I'm too fucking dumb. You hate it when I cry unless it's that time of the month. And I'm too perfect till I show you that I'm not 1,000 people I could be for you. And you hate the fucking law. You hate the fucking law. You hate the fucking law. You hate. It's taking you ages. You still don't get the hint. I'm not asking for pages, but one text or two would be nice. And please don't pull those phases. When I've been out working my ass off all day, it's just one bottle of wine or two. But hey, you can't even talk. You smoke weed just to help you sleep. Then why you out getting stoned at 4 o'clock? And then you come home to me and don't say hello. 'Cause I got high again and forgot to fold my clothes. 'Cause I'm too messy and then I'm too fucking clean. You told me get a job and you asked where the hell I've been. And I'm too perfect till I open my big mouth. I want to be me. Is that not allowed? And I'm too clever and then I'm too fucking dumb. You hate it when I cry unless it's that time of the month. And I'm too perfect till I show you that I'm not 1,000 people I could be for you. And you hate the fucking law. You hate the fucking. You hate the fucking law. And I'm too messy and then I'm too fucking clean. You told me get a job, then you asked where the hell I've been. And I'm too perfect till I open my big mouth. I want to be me. Is that not allowed? And I'm too clever and then I'm too fucking dumb. You hate it when I cry unless it's that time of the month. And I'm too perfect till I show you that I'm not 1,000 people I could be for you. And you hate the fucking law. 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 A place in the city, a chair and a bed. I cover up all the mirrors, I can't see myself yet. I wear smoke like a wedding veil, make a meal I won't eat, step out into the street alone in a sea. It comes over me, oh, I'm missing you. Yeah, I'm missing you. And all the things we used to MDMA in the back garden, blow our pupils up. We kissed for hours straight, well baby, what was that? I remember saying then, this is the best cigarette of my life. Well, I want you just like that. Into your hairs, we're in a sandstorm and it knocks me out. I didn't know then that you'd never be enough. Oh, since I was 17, I gave you everything. Now we wake from a dream. Well baby, what was that? What was that? Baby, what was that? Do you know you're still with me when I'm out with my friends? I stare at their painted faces that talk current affairs. You had to know this was happening. You weren't feeling my heat when in the blue light down, baby, so bright I face reality. I tried to let whatever has to pass through me, pass through. But this is staying a while. I know it might not let me go. MDMA in the back garden, blow our pupils up. We kissed for hours straight, well baby, what was that? I remember saying then, this is the best cigarette of my life. Well, I want you just like that. Into your hairs, we're in a sandstorm and it knocks me out. I didn't know then that you'd never be enough. Oh, since I was 17, I gave you everything. Now we wake from a dream. Well baby, what was that? What was that? 'Cause I want you just like that. Blue light, I can make it alright. What was that? Blue light, I can make it alright. Baby, what was that?
I've got good intentions. She don't see them at all. She doesn't mention that I'm a sucker. I'm in the doghouse again, staring at the wall. She's always giving it to me. Late night, she's always accusing. Last time she said she would kill me. My girl's a bitch when she's moody, but she's my everything. She's all that I need, sometimes more than I want. Questions are loaded, her face says a lot. She's cryptically coded, she's hungry, I'm not. It's just big emotions, it's not jealousy, most days of the week. She's always giving it to me. Late night, she's always accusing. Last time she said she would kill me. But my girl's a bitch when she's moody, but she's my everything. She's all that I need, sometimes more than I want. Making her eyes roll on her backside toe. Being alone, she's always giving it to me. Late night, she's always accusing.
Oh, what
Last
the fuck? Guten Morgen, everybody. Guten Morgen. One secondo. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay.
It isn't working.
Ooh.
I'm a tired way
Get all
to question
comfy,
most.
cozy.
You're just surfing. Leaning into me like
Okay.
it's so crazy. You just understand my feelings.
What's up, everyone?
Maybe I'm capable
Oh. This feels a little extra rough because I'm recovering from EDC and I need to sleep, but I did not get sleep last night. CarolineKwan, you remind me why I'm a lesbian every day. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Okay, what was I gonna do? I was going to, oh yes, I want to post on Twitter. All right, everybody enjoy the sounds of Olivia Dean. It's a good morning playlist. Okay, post. Let me post this. Live now for a morning stream. Chatting. Okay. Okay, how do I make sure to spell her name right? Noelia. Okay. Chatting with Noelia Caballero and Susan Ben. Okay. All right. What up? What up? Hold on one second. I'm just making a tweet and it's taking me 1,000 years. Susan Ben. The masterminds behind Pope CRAVE. Okay. Live now for a morning stream chatting with Susan Ben and Noelia Caballero, the masterminds behind the viral account. I can't see words right now. Does this make sense? The masterminds behind the viral account Pope CRAVE. Yes, and then I'm going to tag Pope CRAVE. Okay. All right. Tory Lanez needs to fuck off already. So many people need to fuck off. Okay. I think that's good. Okay, here. I'm gonna... Ooh! Shit! I'm going to link this. Okay, there's my tweet. Anyway, good morning, everyone. Are you going to go to Deco Grand opening tomorrow? I think so. I'm going to try to pop by at least for a little bit. All right. Anyway, Shy Thembo, thank you for the 3 months. Are you feeling okay? No. No. No, I'm post EDC recovery, and I woke up this morning because I scheduled this conversation. With the 2 people who made the Pope CRAVE account. Oh my God, my brain is like blinkering. At least it's not going to be like a serious conversation. You know what I mean? I'm not talking to some journalist about the state of Israel and Palestine right now. So hopefully this will be more low key. So I don't have to worry about maybe being a dumbass right now. That's how I feel after EDC. I just feel stupid. Like I just straight up feel my brain is like water. It's like the SpongeBob. Water. You look very lovely today. Well, thank you all. Like I said yesterday, if you're dying on the inside, try to not look like you're dying on the outside. Corin, thank you for the 4 months. Caroline, not to be nosy, but do you get your eyebrows laminated? Yes, I do. I do. It's my favorite thing. I started doing it like two years ago, maybe. Where'd you buy the sweater? I got this from Dolls Kill when I was looking for some stuff for EDC. Sandy, water. Anyway, how are we doing? What's going on? What's happening? How's everyone's day? The iconic Pope CRAVE. Yes, I'm talking to the iconic Pope CRAVE. That's right. Yes, indeed. So we're going to be chatting in like an hour. So we can cover some stuff before then. Good. How are you? Good. It's going to take me a minute to wake up. But we're getting there. You're getting there. The hardest part about morning streams, about getting up in the morning, is that Farley looks so cute. He looks so extra cozy and cute in the mornings where he's got like sleepy eyes. And then as soon as I get up, he goes and lays in my spot because it's warm. And I'm like, he's so cute and cozy, and I just want to lay there and snug him. I'm like, God damn it. I have to get like I swear, I thought you were gonna say Farley morning farts. No. Even if he was tooting in the morning, it'd be cute. I swear he's extra cute because I have to get out of bed. Beach really spent all weekend calling Farley schizophrenic and gay. Her gay schizophrenic nephew. Yes. Dude, your eyebrows are on fleek today. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, that's because we're still in like the post lamination. The first couple weeks post lamination, the eyebrows do what I need them to do. And then after that, I have to like pry them up. Do I have brown chrome nails? I did, yeah. And then EDC did a number on them. They looked really cute. And then by day 3, I looked down. I was like, what happened? What's going on? Will you do a sisters stream again soon? Well, my sisters are coming to visit this weekend. I don't know if they're gonna pop on to stream or not. They haven't come to visit me in a while, so I gotta plan some stuff to do with them. Mother, this stream is so early. Oh, I know. The meddling monkey. Thank you for the 6 months. Okay. We need to know Liz's opinions on Andor. I think it's so funny when people poke at Will to get him all fired up. And I guess he banned Andor in his chat last night because he was getting so annoyed. He was like, that's enough. No more. You should visit Deco today. I will not be able to visit it today, but I am going to try to go to the grand opening tomorrow. Not you encouraging bad behavior. There's a part of me that does find it very funny, the things that he gets lit up about. Like, I mean, there are things I get annoyed about, but I guess I just don't pop off the way that he does. But there are certain things where it's like, he can get to the point where he will rage quit stream because he's so annoyed. He said they harassed him for 3 years. Yeah, he claims that it's a harassment campaign that's been going on for years. The Andor fans. Will you go to DreamCon? No, probably not. I don't really do that kind of stuff. The only con I go to is TwitchCon. I don't even... Is DreamCon? No, that's not the YouTube one. DreamCon. Although Meg the Stallion is going to DreamCon, and I would be all about seeing Meg, but no, I don't know. I mean, I guess people go there and do cosplay and stream and stuff. Are you going to TwitchCon in Rotterdam? No. Y'all, I can't even think about doing anything else right now. Like, the week that I get back from EDC is just... I can't even think about doing anything else. I hate when post-movie you and Will get asked, have you seen blank movie? I get so annoyed for y'all, but y'all are too nice. I don't really mind it. I don't know. I have a lot of patience, and I know people are just excited to see if I've seen something. When you get asked the same thing 1,000 times, yeah, I mean, you're just not as excited to give your answer anymore. But, what's up, freak? What's up with you, freak? Let me look at your chat logs. The last time that your freak ass was in here. God, I wish I had patience. I don't know. Again, do not look. Again, I have changed my attitude on things where I'm like, oh, people just are... When somebody has seen something or when whatever, I don't know. Like, they're here because they want to hear... They want to get my takes. They want to know what I think of something. So... Not everybody is here for every second of the stream, so I'm going to get asked the same things multiple times. And honestly, because I am a streamer who covers a lot of news, I would rather somebody ask me, like, have you seen this movie, even if I've been asked that multiple times, than say something like... Then say something like, yeah, but do you condom hummus? You know what I mean? Where it's like that kind of shit versus are you going to go watch whatever? So there are different barometers for the patience that I have depending on what's being asked. You know? You should yell at us like Hassan does. Well, some of y'all got a humiliation kink that I am not going to be feeding into. I know there are a lot of people who are like, yes, yell at me more. Scream at us, please. Please. Bro, I'm telling you though, it takes a shit ton out of you. I used to yell more. And afterwards, I would be like, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. Should I eat a 5 milligram gummy? Aren't you at work? I mean, yeah. But also, are you allowed to do that? I've been yelled at by Hassan, but I admit I was being annoying, and I have reformed. There you go. Sometimes, okay. Sometimes being yelled at, like, sometimes you do need to be told you're annoying. Like, I will tell people they're annoying. I'll be like, look, you're being annoying. Okay? Check yourself. Check yourself before you wreck yourself in chat. But, I don't know. I am not a person who likes listening to a stream where someone is yelling all the time. So I'm sure some people are into it. It's not my thing. And so I'm like, maybe not everybody likes that as well. You rarely ban people? We used to ban more. I don't know. Things change. They change and then they change again. They change and then they change back. And then they change again. Nothing is ever the same. You know? Nodders, thank you for the gifted sub to Lolo. Press Play, thank you for the 18 months. Juggling Dough, thank you for the 10 months. I watch every day in the hope. Well, I will say the rare moments that I do yell, they are indeed rare moments. If you watch stream a lot, you'll catch them, but it's a rare. I have to just be in the right. I have to have the right mentality. Yeah. Yeah. Or usually it's like a baby voice because I think that that's more infuriating to somebody who's being really fucking annoying. Protect your peace, queen. Yeah, I've done a lot of things to try to protect my peace. We're still working on it, you know? You usually tap into a disappointed mom voice. Yes, I do feel as I've gotten into my 30s, I hit more of the disappointed mom voice. Like, not even just in stream, but in my life. Like, that's the thing, too, is I don't yell in my life outside of stream. I'm not a big yeller. I often will have disappointed mom voice, or I will just have very like, okay, well, I think we should talk about this type of thing. That shit gets deep. It can. Yeah, it can. It's evident you used to be a teacher. Yes. Also being a teacher, it never leaves you. Whether you're a teacher for a year, for 5 years, for 10 years, for 20 years, there's something about it that, especially when you teach little kids, I don't know. There's something about it where it just, there's a part of you that will always have the teacher voice. J-Town, me lady, thank you for the 3 months. Did you see Fear Ann? I don't watch Fear Ann, which is why I have been taken by complete surprise a few times when somebody will link me a Fear Ann clip where I'm like, oh, that's what they're talking about on Fear Ann? So I don't know what the getting children all at the same time. I don't know what that means. Oh, we got a retweet from Pope Crave. Pope Crave has received the divine mandate of CarolineKwan. Live now for morning stream chatting with Susan Pitt and Noelia Caballero, the masterminds behind the viral account Pope Crave. Let's go. I in the 15 minutes I've been live, or however long I've been live, I forgot about this for a second. That's how brain dead I am. Sometimes you guys will repeat things in here that are said on Fear Ann, and I can't even get mad. I can't even be like, that's not appropriate, because it's things that they're saying on Fear Ann, man. You know what? I am just going to stick with the I don't listen to this fuck-ass podcast. I don't listen to this podcast. I refuse to. I refuse to. I will never listen to it, okay? Never. Would I rather fight one horse-sized toddler or 5 toddler-sized horses? Probably 5 toddler-sized horses. I could take them out. I don't know why the image of that is so funny. Oh, Hassan wants everyone from Fear Ann to have children at the same time. Yeah, fucking right. Everyone agreed except Will. He said Uncle will be raising all your children. No. First of all, I can't even imagine. You know what's funny? Of the four of them, the only person that I can picture as a parent right now is Will Neff. And we are not having kids anytime soon. You think about Cutie, Austin, and Hassan having kids anytime soon? No way. No way. Will also had a fear that if they had kids grow up together, 2 of the kids will fuck. Okay. This is what is this podcast, man? What? No. It's too fucking early for that. Austin said he wants a child. Austin, I feel like I will tell Austin when he's allowed to have children. I'll be like, okay, I think you can have a child now. I will be the one to determine it. Yeah, he can't even get an apartment in LA after years. When he's like, I'm moving to LA. He's been on record saying he's not raising the child for the first 4 years. Yeah. No, he's like, I'll have a child and then I won't raise it until it's an adult and I can take it to the Abbey. The Fear Ann crew are some of the last people who should be having children at this current moment. Like, I cannot think that enough. I kind of feel like that with a lot of streamers in general. Like, I need you guys to understand. Juggling Dough, thank you for the 10 months. I need y'all to understand that the streamer lifestyle and how brain broken a lot of these adult children are does not make for the appropriate conditions to be raising a child. It's not just streamers. I know, but there's like in particular, I have a very hard time imagining a lot of streamers as parents. I'm genuinely like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Because because there's just, you would have to make some very serious changes in your lifestyle as a degenerate streamer. And, you know, fair enough. Like, I don't want to make the changes to my life right now, but it's why it makes me laugh imagining these jokers having kids in like even the next 5 years. Gotta rearrange the stream room to make room for a crib. That's true. That is true. I hear regularly that certain streamers want to make a child a huge content, which seems like they want a kid for the wrong reasons. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you're having a baby for content, that is so fucked. Like, oh, the next evolution of content is to have a child? Don't do it. Yeah, season 18 arc. Hey, y'all. I had a baby. Cutie was the only one consistently saying she doesn't want kids. Yeah, she's said that. But we'll have one because Ludwig wants one. But then she said she hopes the 5-year-old sees this clip of her saying she doesn't want it. What the fuck? I guess, look, my thing is, if you are in a relationship and kids are brought into the picture, there are so many things that you have to like make sure you are doing the best you can at, or else there's going to be problems from the get-go. And like for me, if I don't feel that it is equal responsibility, if I feel like I'm the one who has to make a bigger sacrifice in my life, then that will build resentment. So like, it is very important for me, if I were to have a child, that I would not feel like the one whose life totally changed. Right? It's like I spend all this time building up my career, you know, working hard, etc. And then because I'm the woman, I'm the one whose life like essentially disappears because of having a kid. Like it's the thing that I tell people, like the relationship in Mrs. Doubtfire, right? It's the thing that I tell people where I go, you don't want, like, do not sacrifice your whole life, because if resentment builds and if you feel like you are the one who is caring for the child, this child that two of you had together, then you go through the physical difficulties of having the baby, and then the expectations, the domestic responsibilities, etc., are then placed on you as well. It is not going to it won't bode well for having a healthy relationship, in my opinion, with either your partner, your child, etc. It's how, like, I'm telling you, there are women in my family who they had children young, okay? They did not get the chance of having the career that they wanted. They just were stay-at-home moms for years, which some people are that's what they want to do, great. And then years later, after the kids had grown up, had kids of their own, okay, now you're middle-aged, now it's just you and the hubs, that is when this built up years-long resentment started to come out. And I have now seen this multiple times in my family. And it is a thing where I'm like, ain't no fucking way. Yeah, when the midlife crisis starts to hit, when you look back and you go, my life was just raising children, and I don't feel like I had a real choice in that. And I don't feel like that was something that was a shared responsibility. Like, that was just expected of me. Yep, it happened to my aunt. Yes, there are probably plenty of us who have family members like that, where all I will say, for those of you who for those of you who have yet to have kids, maybe it's something you're thinking about. This is just the way that I look at things, where you don't want there to be massive problems. Okay, sorry. Let me restate this. You want to try and address this stuff before it gets to the point where it's too late. Like, that's kind of how I operate in life. Communication is a really important thing to me. So I have said all of these things to Will. I have talked about the fears that I have of disappearing if I were to have a child, of the domestic duties being placed on me because of being a woman in society, and how I know that it would cause me to be very resentful. And it's something where, anyway, you want to get they say there's never like a perfect time to have a kid. Okay, it is an arduous journey, and you can prepare for it as best as you can, but you'll never be 100% prepared. But I will just say that make sure those things that can become major problems later, if you're already feeling that you address it before it gets too late. You know? So the whole, my husband's best man at our wedding left his wife after they had 5 kids together. She started having kids right after high school, and 14 years later, she had no job skills and had to start over completely. Followed you a while ago, didn't watch you much, but holy shit, you're pretty chill and the wisdom. Well, it is a morning stream. Sometimes vibes are different. Sometimes I'm so tired that I don't even know what I'm saying. And I guess ends up being chill. Alternative, marry rich, have 4 kids. Yeah, there you go. There's the alternative. Pure Scale, thank you for the 23 months. Top of the morning to ya. Did I miss anybody else? Okay. People spend so much of their life in the rat race doing what they think they're supposed to do, and then they hit 40 and realize they're still not happy. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying everybody go dedicate yourself to a career that you think you're supposed to have, you know, because there's a lot of people who do that too, and that's not the recipe for happiness. But we were just specifically talking about kids, and I was just giving my personal thoughts on the matter, where I am very open about the fact that I will like Ophelia myself if I were to be in a position where having a child forced me into becoming like a passenger in my own life, where I did not feel like it was something that was shared. And that's never something, like, you got to pick who you're with wisely. Okay. That's why it's important. It's important to try and, if you're planning to have kids, etc., that you are with somebody who is going to respect you and your life, and the burden will not fall on you to raise them fucking kids by yourself. It's important to test drive the cars before you buy them. Oh, I feel that way about relationships and marriage. I don't want to be in a marriage with someone who hates me. Speaking of, hold on a second. I just feel like lately there's been some weird ass shit around Justin Bieber. Like, what is this? Justin Bieber and his wife Hailey covering Vogue magazine. Yo, this reminds me when Hailey and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. Yikes. I know. So mean. Bro, first of all, that is your wife. Second of all, Why are you posting this? Wait, can I call? Yeah, hold on a sec. Oh wait, what time is it? Noelia just text. Okay, I have like 30 minutes until I have to jump on my call. Perfecto. Yeah, are you gonna call me on Discord? Yikes, I know, so mean. For some reason, because I felt disrespect. There is so much to break down here. I can't even. Oh my god. Okay, so yes. Okay. Oh wait, why did you hold on? Did you hang up on me? Or are you calling me on Discord? Is this about Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm on
okay.
speaker. Wait, am I on speaker?
You're on speaker.
What the fuck is wrong with him?
Dude, you know, I was just about to break this whole thing down, so let's break it down. Okay. So, first of all, people will be like, well, Justin is deeply traumatized, like yada, yada, yada. Sure. Like, I have talked about that extensively, the exploitation that Justin Bieber went through, etc. But there is definitely this attitude that you will see in heterosexual marriages. And the person who tweeted this pointed it out, where they said, heterosexual relationships are scary because why is your husband your biggest op? Yes.
So crazy.
Why is your husband your
get it,
biggest
but why-
op?
But why does he hate her so much?
Bro,
it's like, it's not even a joke. Like, I know people get parasocial with it and stuff, but it genuinely feels like he fucking hates her.
Yeah, and him saying for some reason, because I felt disrespected, I thought I gotta get even. That is fucked. That is so fucked.
It's also funny that he's just like, hey, even if he didn't hate her, like, let's say we're operating from the perspective that he is just, I don't know, totally deranged or something, but the fight, like, that he's just like, hey, remember when we were fighting and I was like, you'll never be on the cover of Vogue?
Yeah, also the fact that he's
Fucking
posting
crazy.
this on Instagram. This was the caption of her Vogue cover.
It's so good.
Apparently he
It's so
changed
good.
the caption because it's so fucking insane. But the fact that he also wrote sadly mistaken, like, what? What do you mean sadly mistaken? What do you mean you were sadly? It's the sadly mistaken. What does that mean?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I DM'd Hailey Bieber yesterday.
Did you after this? And you were like, listen, Queen, I'll
said-
support
wait,
your
what did I
Vogue
say?
covers.
What did I say? I said, wait, hold on. I said, she has 54 million followers on Instagram, by the way. There's a 0% chance she will ever see this. Oh, I said, hey, just FYI, I think we'd have a better life together.
Yeah. What do you bring into the table? Are you gonna post?
I'm not gonna be like, I hate my wife.
Wait, do you remember the Mother's Day post where he said he hates Mother's Day and it was her first Mother's Day?
Yeah, but I do think, okay, not to be, I hate it. It was also, I hate it because I am a disgusting piggy who eats this stuff up. But I, apparently, you know, I mean, people say that part of that was he has a complicated relationship, like, obviously, with his family, because they literally, I mean, who knows, the Diddy stuff is crazy, because he also, like, not to forget that he has, like, the Diddy connection, and if you go back to when he was a little kid.
Yes, we covered that all in stream, and like the Diddy stuff aside too, he was very deeply exploited just in his child stardom, and like it's essentially inevitable that you will be exploited if you are a child star by the people around, especially one who reaches the heights of Justin Bieber.
And didn't he do the big mental deterioration, spiraling out, like, back tattoo?
Yes, I mean he's at a couple points. There was.
Did you pull up the Ben Affleck one when he did?
Wait, what? The Ben
that
Affleck
tattoo with the dragon.
Yes, the Ben Affleck back tattoo. You know men and back tattoos when they're going through it.
Wait, pull it up. Can you pull it up?
Yeah, hold on a sec. Actually, will someone just link it to me? They're faster in chat. I'm working on a Selena and Bieber timeline for something else. My notes are over 15 pages. Well, I saw this thing online where it was like, does anyone remember when Bieber would have models wear the same dresses that Selena would wear? It was like a weird thing where when he was dating her, the dresses that she would wear on red carpets, he would have models wear, and as in like a way to compare Selena, who was like notoriously very sensitive and insecure about her body. Okay, this post, hold on. This is this one. Will someone also link the Ben Affleck tat? Since Justin Bieber's being exposed as an emotional abuser, let's not forget when he used to make models wear the same dresses as Selena and post it on his Insta, knowing she was insecure about her body. Like, this is a post. I see you in that Dolce dress. Glad you had fun. Bruh. What? What the hell? Okay, wait. Here we go. The Great Sadness of Ben Affleck. Okay.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes!
Bro, what a vibe.
Honestly, he's one of my goats. I love him. Goddamn.
I do love me some Ben Affleck. I've always loved Ben Affleck.
Did you see the headline that was like, Ben Affleck says he will continue to date Latinas? I was like, go off, King. Do it, King.
Wait, do you remember the Raya, when he was on Raya and he's like, this is Ben? Like, somebody they said, Ben Affleck, I matched with him. I didn't believe it was him. And then he sent me a video and it was like,
it's so
this
good.
is Ben.
It's me.
It's me. Ben. It's me, Ben. Okay, so back to Bieber. Yeah, this was recent. This was 2020. Selena Gomez says she experienced emotional abuse in her past relationship with Justin Bieber. So this is something that she's talked about. And then, like, he has made multiple statements before about his marriage with Hailey, where, like, one time he was on Ellen talking about how it felt like an arranged marriage. I don't know, man. I just have to go back to this.
All of it is very weird.
Well, you know what I heard?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
So, word on the street, and by that, my inside sources told me that when they got married, Hailey signed a contract, which is actually something that happens often with celebrities of a certain caliber, where she signed a contract that essentially was like, Justin can fuck around and do all these things, and she can't go public with any of it because she was agreeing to all of this in the contract, which had like an NDA and etc. So this is something that, like, I was told specifically about their marriage, but also it is not the only marriage or relationship where shit like this happens. As a reminder, Hollywood is very weird. Okay. There's a lot of weird shit that happens in this town, and there's a lot of relationships that are not good or not real relationships. Yeah, it's giving very healthy.
I'm trying to find. I'm looking into this right now because I'm so interested. I would love to read even like a boilerplate contract of what these things look like. I assume it's like non-disparagement and like typical NDAs.
Yeah, like I think Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes had, like, there was a contract in that marriage as well.
Yeah, I have one of these with Hassan. Hassan made me sign this when I first met him.
It's like Hassan can fuck around and you can't do anything about it. You can't say anything.
Yeah. And he can insult me and stuff, and I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed to retaliate.
Yeah, he can say get on your knees, you little piss baby.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, this is honestly, I mean, yeah, I'm not totally surprised. I mean, that whole situation is so bizarre. It was like, wasn't she very, very or maybe that was earlier on. She was like very young. There's like a video of her meeting Justin Bieber.
Yes,
for
she
the
was
first
a
time.
fan. No, she was a fan. She used to post about Selena and Justin when they were dating, where she'd be like, who's obsessed with Selena and Justin? Like hashtag me. She was
yeah.
she was a stan. She was obsessed with
Get your bag.
Bieber.
Get your bag, girl. I mean,
And that's why that's why the whole contract thing, where when she got into a position where essentially it was like, okay, you can be with Bieber, but here's the deal. Here's how it goes.
This is why the thing is, like, I mean, Hollywood is so evil in so many ways, but this is one of those things where, you know, when like people who are mentally ill or like have, you know, problems and stuff and go a little bit insane, like, or conservative people who talk about like the devil and the Illuminati and all this shit in Hollywood, it's because they just do stuff that's so gross. Like, it's not,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
so disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, these, like, the Illuminati, cabal, Satan type crowd, they have the details wrong, but they're not wrong in that there's a lot of fuck ass shit that happens in Hollywood. That, like, this, when you get to this level of fame and wealth, and it's not just Hollywood, you know, this goes in general, you no longer do normal people things. Like,
Right.
when you are this rich, when you are this famous, when you have everything at your fingertips, when nobody tells you no, when everyone around you is enabling you, is a yes man, you no longer like have the capacity to behave like a reasonable person.
It's also like that tweet that's like, I feel like being a billionaire is the same as like the equivalent of like being kicked in the head by a horse like once a day. Like they just like lose their reasoning facilities and like don't act normal at all.
Yeah, and I've met my fair share of very, very, very rich people, and they are fucked. They are fucked in the head. They are not normal. They do not operate in the same, close to the same realm that we mere mortals do. Okay, wait. Selena Gomez shares an uplifting quote directed to somebody via her IG story. You matter, your voice matter. And we know that she posts with intention, okay? She doesn't just go, wow, I really like this poem. Like, she's got intent here. You matter, your voice matters, your heart matters. You are worth so much more than you know. And then she posted a caption, you know who you are, and I'm cheering you on.
I feel like this was directed at me.
You're like, is this about me?
Selena, thank you.
Oh my God, Selena, you know who you are. And Selena Gomez is cheering me on. She also liked to post about Hailey's makeup brand. Look, okay, at the end of the day, who the fuck really knows exactly what's going on here? But it's not hard to believe. It's not hard to believe that, yes, all these people are whack in their own right, but also it could be the case that Selena went through a lot of shit when she dated Justin Bieber, that a lot of what she kind of subtweets or posts on Instagram is about that shit that she went through, and that she's not actually, like, Hailey is not her enemy. She probably knows about the contract. She probably knows about all this shit. Like, that's what I wonder is, when you get to that level of celebrity, what all do you know? Like, who knows what tea? Who's aware of, do you know what I mean? Like, I remember when I told,
the tea and when did they know
who knew the tea? So I remember when I told my sister that I had gotten tea, I had received tea that Jennifer Aniston was in fact dating Barack Obama. And she was like, what the fuck? Well, what do people in Hollywood think about this? She was like, what does Charlie XCX think about this? I said, I have no idea. I don't know if Charlie XCX has heard that tea, what she thinks about it. Like, she was so obsessed with wanting to know if celebrities know this shit, and if they do they care or do they not care? Because this is just normal, right? It's like this is not tea to them.
It's all, I don't know. It's all relative. It's like Bo Burnham once said, like, he watches, he likes to go on YouTube and watch people who have, like, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, like, everybody, I always worry about that. I'm like, oh, which freaky person, or not freaky, but, like, what person is, like, watching me that I have no idea that they're
Selena
consuming my
Gomez.
stuff? Yeah, I mean, I told you the Lily Gladstone story, right? Like, that
Yes.
story's crazy.
Yes.
I
I wonder if Pedro Pascal watches my streams.
I think he must.
Do you think so?
I think he must.
Okay, wait, hold on. I have to address chat because everyone is like, hold on a second. So the tea that I heard was that the reason Michelle Obama, and I'm not doing like Fox News shit, but the reason that Michelle Obama was not at the inauguration, it was not because she was making a statement about Trump. It was because she and Barack they have not been in a happy marriage for a while. And that Obama was dating Jennifer Aniston. That was the tea that I received. I cannot reveal my sources. Hi, it's me, Robert Pattinson.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, he uses my account sometimes. I'm not on there right now.
Oh, Rob, what's up?
Yeah,
Robert
it's
Pattinson,
Twilight,
spin us one of your lies. Is the source credible? The source comes from, it's like PR related. And let me tell you, PR people know everything. Okay. They know everything. This is also a rumor that has been a rumor for years. So it's easy to dismiss. Like one time, I think it was Kimmel asked Jennifer Aniston where he went, have you heard the crazy rumor that you're dating Barack Obama? And she went, oh, I mean, I've only met him like one time. So this has been a rumor for a while that Barack and Jen dated. I will say though, okay, now a lot of times the tabloid trash is just tabloid trash. A lot of these rumors are rumors, but other times there is some or a lot of truth to this shit. No,
Well,
I'm not saying that I can't tell you like what
will
is
say
what.
that obviously, everything we're saying is allegedly and
Also
speculative
alleged.
and whatever.
I just want to be
But
so clear.
how-
This is not coming from me.
But I will say, you know what? The tea that's always correct in my experience is gay tea. Gay tea
Oh,
is
yeah.
always like
Queer
I
tea.
was hearing, oh God, like the Kanye stuff, the gay community has been unknown about that.
They've been saying this for a long time.
a long fucking time. Gay people always know what's going on.
They do. And they will spill. They will spill. I
All
saw.
right, I gotta go. I do like calling and talking to you about this slop. I love this.
You know
is
who
the
I'm
best.
talking to in 10 minutes? I'm
Who?
talking to the girls behind the Pope Crave account.
Oh, cool. Fun.
Yeah, I'll be asking them all the Pope tea.
Sick. You should get the. Oh man, you know it'd be so cool. You know, crazy. What is it? Crazy Days and Nights. That place.
Hmm.
Do you know Crazy Days and Nights?
Do I?
It's like
Crazy-
the blind item. It's like the blind
Oh.
item website.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I think I know who is behind. We could talk later.
You know who's behind the website, or you know?
I think so. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And so I don't know. That's interesting.
I used to divulge. I used to divulge in blind items in a way that I don't really anymore.
Yeah.
But
This is my guilty pleasure. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. This is my guilty pleasure. This is my guilty pleasure.
Okay.
You know.
Well, are you at
What was
work? Are you going to work?
I'm on my lunch break. I'm on my lunch break. I'm
Okay,
allowed
well-
to do whatever I want on my lunch break.
A lunch break well spent. Thank you for
Thank you.
popping in.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. If you have any other questions about this, I've been keeping track of my time and I've spent almost 10 hours researching this. Of course you have, but the TLDR is that Justin has always been the problem. Yeah, man, I just think that this post is so fucking weird. So, baby, you already know, but forgive me for saying you wouldn't get a Vogue cover because clearly I was sadly mistaken. If you are dating somebody who has this type of energy, break up with them. If you are dating someone who is not your biggest supporter, dump them. Dump them, dump them, dump them, dump them. Okay? If your partner is your biggest op, goodbye. It's time to go. Nobody got time for that. That is the person who should be your biggest supporter. Okay? Like, you could have 10 followers on Instagram. I'm saying, no, baby, you could be on Vogue. Exactly. Exactly. Goosies, thank you for the 18 months. Oh, Christ, the fog is coming. Thank you for the prime. Knocked Ox, thank you for the 33 months. This reminds me of things I would post on Zanga in middle school. Shout out to Zanga. Shout out. When it comes to marriage, yeah, you know, I have to say after checking in with Cannes Film Festival, I will say Colin Jost and ScarJo seem like pretty cute when he brought those flowers out to her but didn't take the stage, just handed the roses, let her have her moment. I was like, that's some cute couple shit. Also, we did not get to anything I wanted to cover before we're doing Pope CRAVE. We had an unexpected Lolo call to discuss Justin Bieber. But can we talk about the hilarious Vogue video where she said she was reading Nietzsche and ScarJo? You're telling me she's giving the energy of like a sophomore English major at a liberal arts college? Oh, Hailey Bieber? Yeah, remember that era of like influencer girlies taking paparazzi pics where they would have a loose MacBook, okay? They would have like a MacBook Air and they would carry it loosely. There was no bag. And then they would have a tattered copy of like some philosophy book. Grimes with the Communist Manifesto after her divorce. Yes. Or there would be photos of them in their bikinis. They'd be laying there in bikinis. It's Addison Rae loves to give off this vibe of like walking and reading a book at the same time. She was being sarcastic. I think she was also carrying an empty journal. All right, well, who knows? Okay. Anything else that I want to get to before we hop on this call here? Hold on a second. Dun, 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 dun. I feel like there's quite a bit of crazy shit that's been happening at Cannes. Like, apparently there was a documentary. There was a documentary at Cannes that is called Slouse and Wreck. And it is about Shia LaBeouf's acting school, which apparently he just wrecked emotional terror that bordered on the torturous at this acting or at this theater company. Like, he had this theater company and he would just openly abuse the actors who were attending it. And then there was like, and he's talked about this. It's so fucking weird. Let me see if I can find a trailer for it. Slauson. I love now that we are just doing that. We're just like openly talking about abuse like this, which I guess, I mean, you have abusers who are pretending that they're not abusive, but then you have people like Shia LaBeouf who they do this stuff and then they're like, yes, that's what I was doing.
Start a theater school. It's called the Slauson Recreation Center Theater School. You don't have to be an actor. You don't have to ever have thought about being an actor. You do, however, have to have a story that you're willing to share. All I ask of you is that you show up and stay for 1 hour. If you don't like it, leave. If you do like it, I'll be there next Saturday. I'll be there every Saturday at 9 a.m. building shit with whoever shows up. I'm trying to change the world. If you are too, let's get it. Bang.
And I mean, we all taking a beating here. I gave up everything, job, everything, because I believe in all of y'all and all of this.
Yeah, I told you I respect you. Yeah, but I don't give a fuck what you say to me. It's about what you do.
It's like a dog on a chain. It's like your neck is being choked.
I'm gonna just pause right there and tell you it is never that serious. Okay? I fully do not support any of this crazy shit in the process of training as an actor. Okay? I love theater. I love theater. I love acting. I think it can get intense when when you are like pulling up emotional stuff, but there is never any excuse to get to this level. This is ridiculous. This is like people just wanting an excuse to be assholes.
Taking the thing off his neck, but he didn't do that.
Bro watched Whiplash and got inspired.
Because what I know to be true is, if the shit is successful, you will love me.
No, it's ego.
You will fucking love me if we win. You will fucking love me.
It's just so much of this is ego and kind of a sense of being like of wanting to be deified, to be worshipped, treated like a god because you are a god among men. Someone said, is he on drugs? He's on God knows the fuck what. So this began as a 2018 attempt to build a creative family of players and stimulate the community of South Central Los Angeles. And it descended into ego-driven insanity, complete with physical violence and harrowing screaming matches. A 2-hour and 25-minute documentary about the experimental theater company run by Shia LaBeouf. I've done a lot of coming to terms with the failure that was my life and the plastic foundation that I had. I left a lot of people in the wake of my personality defects. Is what he has said. Oh God. There are a lot of fucked up people in the industry, and the things that have fucked them up are not always of their own doing. But man, the whole hurt people thing, the cycle of abusive behavior. It is so common within the entertainment industry, where you just have people who had very fucked up childhoods, who had very abusive parents, managers, etc., the people around them who are exploiting them, and then they turn around and their just ability to hang on to any type of reality is so warped. And that's how you just end up with a lot of famous people doing fuck ass stuff. Yes, and also like the feeding of egos. There is Jesus Christ, hold on a second, let me fix something. There we go. Sorry, my cloud lifter. The ego's egoing. Yes. Okay, I need to go grab some water before I jump on the phone here, and then we'll pick up with stuff after. Okay, I'm gonna put up text. Okay, on Discord call with Pope Crave creators. Whew. Okay, brain. Come on, brain. Come on. Oh, I think I have to replace my cloud lifter soon because that thing is being funkalicious. I know you aren't feeling 100 right now, but this has been one of the most captivating streams I've seen from any creator. Thank you, Nova baby. I am sat. Me too. Okay, let me give him a call. Let me give them a call on Discord. Start voice call. Let's see. Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay. Are we here? Are we both? How's our internet?
We're back.
We're back. We're so back.
Baby.
We're so back. All right.
It was so over, but now we're so back.
Yeah. Let me fix these volumes real quickly. Okay. And you guys can hear me all right?
Yeah, you're perfect.
Okay, great. So will you both, just so we know whose voice is whose, will you introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'm Noelia. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Hello.
Okay, we're live.
We are.
Yeah, Susan,
we
it's
are
you.
live. Yes. So we have Noelia. Okay.
I'm Susan. You can call me Yo SB. That's actually what I go by online.
Oh, Yo SB. Okay, let me change Susan. Yo SB.
It's like YOSB. It's like YOSB.
Is that like a gamer tag, or where does that come from?
It's Yo Susan Bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, actually. Okay, that makes, you know what? That makes sense. I understand that. Well, I am CarolineKwan. That is just my name. Nothing, no fun story behind that. When I started streaming, I was trying to think of a streamer name, and everything I was thinking of sounded really stupid because I started streaming at 30 and I was like, Kwan Gamer Girl? I don't know. It was like when I was picking my AIM name in junior high, and it was not the same. The vibes were not the same as a 30-year-old trying to come up with what my name would be on Twitch. So that's the story there. Anyway, welcome. So excited to be chatting with you both. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, thank you for being here. I know you guys have done a million interviews since in the last couple weeks. You had New York Times, you had them, you had Vulture, you had Rolling Stone. You guys have been on the press circuit. So
yeah, unfortunately for Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mainly me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's good to get the Pope Crave out there, you know? Let the boomers know, okay? The boomers who read New York Times, who probably don't know what a meme is, they are learning about it through reading an interview in an outlet like that.
Yeah, I have a story about that. So I spoke to Scott Ditro at NPR, which is
Okay.
funny because I actually listened to All Things Considered, the show that he hosts. And, you know, he was asking me certain questions like, he was like, explain a zine. And I was like, okay, this is what a zine is. And then he had me walk through the process of making a meme. And I started it by saying, like, okay, so a meme is, and he cut me off and he was like, if we have to explain what a meme is, like, I don't think the audience is like, the audience listening to this is going to tune out if you're going to explain what a meme is. So not the target audience. And I was like, okay, copy. So people who know what a meme is, but don't know what a zine is, that is the demo right there.
You know, one step at a time. I am not going to lie. I did not learn what a zine was until last year because people in my chat were I can't even remember why we were talking about it, but I went, what's a zine? Is that like Vine? And they went, no, it's not. That's not it at all. First of all, it's pronounced zine and it's like magazine.
Correct.
Yeah.
Copy.
So in defense of these boomers, I also have moments of relating to them. But I want to start off and ask you guys, how did you meet? How did this relationship form? And then, of course, the question of how did the two of you get together and form Pope Grave?
I'll let Elsie. Elsie knows how to respond to this one.
I'm the responder. So the real answer is Tumblr, but the more accurate answer is college. So we went to the same college. So we met on Tumblr because I had just been admitted to the same college as USB. And I was like, oh, I just got in. And then USB was like super sweet and was like, oh, let's like meet up. And so we met in college. This was 10 years ago, the ancient times. And since then, so USB was a senior when I was a freshman. So I'm a little younger, but I've we became fast friends. We're interested in all things fandom, but also our interests in history and art and architecture and stuff collided all the time. And so we have been friends for 10 years. We've kept up, and we actually do other projects together. So Pope Crave happened incidentally because it's where the autism took Susan. Like, it happened naturally through her own will. But like, for example, we also have a webcomic together. We're working on
that's
like
amazing.
a queer historical webcomic, like set in the Regency era. So like that was like our first project. So we were like, okay, we do things together. And then autism took over Susan when they watched Conclave 2024. And they were like, we do zine project. And I was like, well, okay, I'm the Catholic advising you at all times, because Susan's not Catholic. Susan is a Buddhist. So I was like, I guess I'm in it now. And then I was in it. And then this Pope Crave started to promote the zine, which is like a charity project. And then it just memed too far and too close to the sun. And here we are now.
And I mean, we are definitely living in a political era where memes are a big part of politics. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, you look at this recent election and the way that internet culture played a huge part in the election. It felt like this was the beginning of the era.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking too about the AI Pope meme that like Donald Trump posted.
Yes.
During the conclave. And I mean, I've had reporters ask me how I feel about like memes of the like social media panopticon.
You mean Kamala's brat?
That fan cams, everything. And I mean, I'm for someone who is unfortunately quite online in terms of like the Twitter account, I'm pretty offline in all other aspects. Like I have a TikTok account, but I truly like I don't go on it. I have an Instagram account, but only because I'm forced to have one.
Mm-hmm.
So I So I was like, well, my understanding too of like the meme, I go on Reddit. That's my social media app of choice, and I stopped going on it after the whole API thing. So I was like, well, like my understanding of memes, especially like memes in the religious sphere that happen, are very alt-right or very like
Yeah.
right-wing
It's like Elon
radicalization.
Musk posting memes from 2015 and doing a laughing face emoji.
Yeah. And so when they asked about like Pope Craven memes, I'm like, well, like, or like not just Pope Crave, but like people who are into the film making like brat fan cams for like progressive popes and all this. Like and like why that felt hopeful, or why that felt earnest and sincere. And like one of my responses was, well, the film itself is very earnest and very sincere. And I think you can also criticize the film for having maybe like a liberalizing ideology. But like at the end of the day, like the message of the film was like one of like, if you can make marginalized invisible people visible, they are also like the future of any institution. Like anyway, so I was like, that's the message that's going to speak to a certain portion of the population, and the ones that are activated enough by this film to like meme about the film, and then like consequently like meme about the actual conclave and real cardinals, um, for whatever reason and whatever their like nuanced and complicated relationship is to Catholicism. Like I think those memes come from a place of actual joy and sincerity, as opposed to like I guess like memes being weaponized for like
for evil,
improper radicalization. Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, how many times have you seen Conclave?
I don't know the exact count, but it's probably in the 40s at this point.
Okay.
I know. It's really embarrassing.
So when you
Sad.
first saw it, had you already developed kind of an obsession with the entire, shroud of mystery around the papacy, all things to do with the conclave? Or was this your introduction where you went, oh my God, this is so cunty, this is such theater, what is this world, I need to dive in?
Yeah, so I'm an artist by trade, and I think if you're an artist who has like a background in fine art, like I worked at fine art museums, so if you have that background, you're already very familiar with the legacy of the Catholic Church in art and architecture, especially thinking back to like the Renaissance, and really when the Catholic Church, for better or for worse, was a huge patron of the arts. So there is that. And also I even have a more specific background in that I like in college studied Greek myths and Roman sarcophagi, which transitioned into like early Christian iconography, which then led me into like studying kind of the locations of, or studying kind of the record keeping of early papal tombs, especially from the transition of old St. Peter's, New St. Peter's. So like the pageantry, I guess pageantry is the word I'll settle on for now, but the pageantry of the Vatican and the Catholic Church is not something that's unfamiliar to me. I've only been to Mass once in my life. I also played Assassin's Creed 2, et cetera, all these things, all these working knowledge of Catholicism, or the Catholic Church, at least the vestiges, the iconography of the Catholic Church. I don't have any like lived experience of being Catholic.
Yeah,
But
I mean, yeah, that's more my bit. I mean, for me, it's easy because I'm gay and Catholic, so I always knew that it was a serve.
But I had read the book.
Catholic.
Yeah, I had read the book and then watched the film, and I had been unfamiliar. I also work in film TV, so like that's why I watch movies. And when I went to see Conclave, I wasn't anticipating much because I wasn't the biggest fan of the novel. It's a very airport thriller novel, and also like, are spoilers okay? Like in the chat?
Yeah, spoilers are okay. So I cover the Oscars at length every single year. So I have talked about this film repeatedly. So y'all, if you don't want spoilers, you know what to do.
Well,
just tune out and then come back in.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So I read the airport thriller novel by Robert Harris before I went to go see the film because I couldn't find the script. And, I had some qualms about the novel. I didn't actually like the way the intersex aspect was kind of handled in the
Mhm.
novel. And it was actually my first question going to the film was like, do they keep the ending, and how do they handle that ending and that treatment? And so yeah, then I like sat in the film and I was kind of expecting a mid adaptation of a mid novel. I haven't seen anything by Edward Berger before, and I was kind of blown away. I was blown away.
Yes. In
by the
lesser
film.
hands, than Edward Berger's, that film would have been a mid adaptation. It would have very much so felt like the vibe of the book, but not old Ed Berger.
No, not our Pope Eddie the Pope Berger. But gonna wrap this answer up because it's getting long-winded. I'd seen it around like the week of October 22nd while I was doing a lot of election volunteering. I was a poll clerk, so I was like very much in it, and so the Pakula political thriller aspect of Conclave the film really like trauma bonded to me, and it took me about a week to decide whether or not I liked it, and then my WhatsApp messages with Noelia can testify to like me talking about this film nonstop, trying to figure out like whether or not I liked this film. And then after a week of me being like, if I can't stop thinking about it for 1 week, I'm pretty sure I have to like say that I like it. And yeah, then then the elections happened, and then I kind of kept going back to this film as like a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And so that's the start. So the answer to your question is no, not really, but I thought it was interesting. What I've said a lot is it's a very, very Protestant interpretation of Catholic aesthetics. And it's a
Okay.
film that's not actually about Catholicism in so much
No.
as it is about any institution.
Right. So, Noelia, I want to talk to you now because you are Catholic and
Yes.
you are queer. So I was raised Catholic. I left the Catholic Church when I was 18 years old, when my mother decided that she was done with the church, and I never returned to Catholicism. And so I grew up in the Midwest. A lot of my friends were Catholic. And now, I have friends who have come out as queer, who have struggled with their foundational Catholicism. Their families who are still very Catholic, who are not accepting of them being queer, etc. So I'm curious, and of course you don't have to say anything that like is too private, etc., but wanting to know about a little bit about your journey as a queer Catholic, how you are feeling today with, and then we can get into specifically talking about Pope Leo and what y'all's thoughts are. But just as far as like the Catholic Church's bottom line being not great when it comes to queer acceptance, I think Francis was progressive for the church. Important to keep that in mind. Progressive for the Catholic Church. So just speak on your experience as a queer Catholic.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about this. I actually do talk about this a lot. Like I mentor, my role, so I identify as a lesbian and a Catholic. And I was very lucky. I was raised in an extremely affirming household. I am a Mexican Catholic, as you can tell probably by my name. But the family I grew up with was very much on the liberal side of the church. I think it's important when we talk about Catholicism to remember that this is a faith with over 1 billion people. And so yes, there's the party line, but there is a lot of diversity and opinion in that church. And so I grew up with a family, my mom knew I was gay before I did. And that was very much accepted. Like it was kind of just like the same party line of like same rules, like no dating until you're grown up, and like you should wait till marriage. Like that was like the only there was like an equality between me and my older sibling who is straight in that sense. And so I grew up with that kind of affirming environment, and an environment that was also very theologically informed and encouraged a lot of study and advanced reading of the Bible and liturgical history, Catholic Reformation, deep dives into the origins of the catechists, etc. I grew up with I'm distantly related to a saint. I grew up with like nuns and priests and stuff in my family. So like, very, very much like the kind of more, connected side of the Catholic world. And so like, I never actually experienced any pull between my own faith and my sexuality. It only really became an issue when I turned 18 and I went off to college and I started to encounter like more conservative Catholics and kind of really came face to face with this side of the church that was very much not a fan of being gay. And now I am almost 30 and I now do work in volunteering and working in LGBTQ programs in a Catholic parish that works to bring LGBTQ people in the church and allow them to have equal access to the sacraments. So like my faith itself is very strong. I think, you know, if the easier choice would be for me to become a Protestant, and I did attend, and I really like the Episcopals, had a great experience with them, who do allow gay marriage, who do have all these elements that I want to see the church go to one day. I am for those who know anything about the kind of gay Christian talks, there's like side A, side B. Like I am, which is like you can either, if you're gay, you have to be celibate, but it's okay, versus the like believe in gay marriage. I'm pretty sure I'm side A. I always forget which is which, but I'm the one where I believe that like gay people should be allowed to be married in the church and have all the equal access, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, it's been a difficult road, but it's more been that yes, it would be easy in some ways for me to be Protestant, but I've never been willing to sacrifice other elements of my faith when I know the problem is with the institutional church and the way in which it's so slow for a multitude of reasons, because it doesn't impact my actual like spiritual relationship with God. And I have also like a cultural, you know, as a Mexican, cultural connection to Catholicism that's very strong. Bottom line though, it's like, you want me to leave? What the Tradcasts want me to do? You want me to do what the Tradcasts want me to do? Which is leave. So I'm even more like, well, I'm not leaving now because that's what the conservatives wish I could do. So I think that's like my basic background. I think Pope Francis, you know, I've talked to other gay Catholics, and you know, he made baby steps, but those baby steps were important for a lot of us because they gave us like a small opening in the door to do more advocacy in the church, right? Like that the thing is like we don't want to give up. Like we know that there's many problems with the church, but there's also a lot of people fighting on the ground to see change and to make change and make their own small communities welcoming in the face of a lot of discrimination. And that's something that like I believe strongly in, and it's the reason why I'm still here. And I very much respect LGBTQ people. Very few of my friends are religious people, and I very much understand and hold a lot of compassion and space for people who've left the church, particularly for reasons of exclusion and discrimination. I'm just lucky that I grew up with that supportive family. I grew up with that more welcoming, more relaxed side. Like I never grew up with like extreme purity culture or a church that told me that gays were going to hell. Like I didn't actually experience that in my childhood and until I was an adult. And so it's easier for me in many ways to stay here. But I still do recognize that that's not the experience for everybody. And it's about how can we work on healing the trauma that the church has done, because like the institutional church is also responsible for a lot of harm. And that's something we balance, like USB and I, when we talk about Catholicism generally.
Thank you for that answer. And I will say that in my experience and in a lot of my friends' experiences who were Catholic, yours seems to be one that is more rare of growing up Catholic with a very liberal. I mean, my family was liberal, but it was still not. They were still very controlled by the direction of the head of the church, right? They went off of they might have voted for liberal politicians, but still had like this weird disconnect when it came to the teachings of the church and then what they professed to believe. And then it wasn't until they like fully left the Catholic Church that they became more accepting in liberal tenets. So I think hearing about your experience, I understand too why you still feel so connected to the faith, even though you recognize the oppressiveness of the institution. So have you, in your experience, have you noticed more queer Catholics returning because of someone like Pope Francis? Is this something where, I mean, I guess I haven't really checked in to see what the numbers are like these days with Catholicism. I was under the impression that they were trying to They were trying to get recruitment up because young people were just overall turning away from religion. Or have you found that like actually young people are, it's not that they're turning away from religion, it's that they're turning away from the institution?
I mean, I actually would say the numbers are up. I need to check the latest stats, but I've seen from everything I've seen, it's that the church isn't actually diminishing. It continues to grow. I mean, I think particularly, I'm coming with the experience of like understanding the global South and the way in which like Catholicism continues to be strong, even though people disagree with institutional aspects of it. I mean, I can absolutely attest to more gay Catholics coming back to the church or joining the church for the first time in the years since Pope Francis became Pope. And it's that kind of 2013 onwards. I've met multiple, older gay men and gay women who converted to Catholicism in 2016, 2017, partially because of Pope Francis's teachings. And I think there is a lot of awareness. I've never met a queer Catholic who is not kind of holding two truths at the same time. On one hand, really embracing the message of liberation and resilience shared by Christ, but also recognizing the regressiveness or kind of more tight-fistedness that exists in in the institutional elements of the church. And like again, like I say, like it's people are leaving, and I think for good reason, especially in places that aren't willing to, I don't know, move with the times or embrace the little diverse thinkings in the church. But like, there's liberation theology and queer theology. There's, anarchist Catholics like Dorothy Day. There's a bunch of like,
yeah, where my
different movements
anarchist
of
Catholics
Catholicism.
at?
Yeah, I know them. So
Yo,
like
chat.
they're out there, but they're it's kind of it's a mixed bag. I'd say definitely it's interesting because I'd say like a lot of the Catholicism, particularly for example in the U.S., is a lot more conservative than, or it's harder to find those kind of mixed pieces as you would in my experience as versus like Mexico, where Mexico is like 95% Catholic. And a lot of people aren't practicing, and a lot of people can be, some people can be extremely conservative, but other people are very relaxed because it is. You can be either way more Catholic, way more conservative, or way more liberal. There's a bit more like clear diversity at times.
Okay, I want to ask y'all your thoughts on Pope Leo, the American / Peruvian Pope. How do we feel? Were we excited? Do we have hope that he will continue in the footsteps of Francis?
I'll go and then let Susan go. I'm so far being hopeful. The party line, and USB can attest to this. The party line of Pope Crave is if he does a good job, he's Peruvian. If he messes up, he's American.
He's American.
Yeah. So.
Okay, that's so fair.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, in all seriousness, like USB will test this. Like we're not. Pope Crave is not going to become a like Pope updates account, and we're still fans of Conclave the movie, so we're not going to tell you what Pope Leo's eating. But if there's like important political things he says, we'll still talk about it because we care. I didn't like what he said recently, like the language he used to talk about like family being between a man and a woman.
Also, like talking about the unborn. Yeah,
but it's still early days.
Yeah.
I'm kind of waiting to see. I mean, the thing I'm very hopeful are he's been very strong in his anti-war message and is kind of bringing that into the American context, which is important. So I'm being hopeful. I'm again, like, I think the perspective from queer Catholics that I work with, that I know, is that we're not going back in the closet. Even if he tries to change his reforms, the progress that we've made at local levels in the church isn't going to go backwards. We won't let it. So yes, he's the head of the church, but also there is a lot of diversity in the church, and that matters too. So that's my basic thoughts. I wasn't really happy when he got elected, if people saw my statement, but I am willing to be a bit more hopeful now because I have seen LGBTQ leaders in the church kind of say like, let's relax a bit. So we're relaxing. USB, what do you think?
I mean, I think he was the consensus vote, the bridge builder vote. And part of that vote was that he was American. First American Pope in 2,000 years. That's crazy.
Yeah, especially given the times.
Yeah, I mean, Noelia said this, and I think it's a strain that's every Vaticanist. So Vaticanist is just a reporter who specializes just in reporting on the Vatican. Has said this, that it's like, the fact that he's American definitely factored into the conversations that we're having. Whether or not, the degree in which you think how political, how secular versus how, like spiritual those elections actually happen in the real conclave. The fact that he was seen as someone who could build a bridge between two worlds was very important.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of crazy when I saw Father James, he's
James
Jesuit.
Martin.
Sorry, Father James Martin, full name. He's a Jesuit. He's the founder of Outreach, like the major queer Catholic organization. He's been on Colbert multiple times, but he was on Colbert recently when Pope Leo, because he was in the Vatican, or he was in Vatican City. And he went on Colbert, and Colbert is also Roman Catholic. And he's been on Colbert multiple times, but and he founded Outreach because of the Pulse shooting, where he felt like the Catholic Church needed to actually, instead of reject like queer Catholics who are impacted by this, like bring them, like have these important conversations. And Pope Francis was like 2 thumbs up to this. And yeah, so I heard him recently on Colbert where he was saying like they were getting emotional, and I was like, damn, okay, like these Catholics, right? They're getting emotional about the idea that they're listening to a pope that's actually speaking in like Midwest English to them, like the English they grew up in.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like it felt really close to them, and I was like, oh, I'm a bit more of a. Can I swear on this? Or like,
of course.
Okay, I'm a bit more of like a hard ass when it comes to anyone in a position of like political leadership. So I'm like, I don't know Pope Leo. I know things about him, and I know, at the beginning, I really like Pope Francis. But like at the beginning of Francis' papacy, he said things that, or he, there were things that he did and said and believed in that I was like not a fan of.
Yeah,
but
great. He
great,
got better.
But you allow someone to prove themselves through the works of their papacy. And so if you judge Pope Francis by the beginning of his papacy versus the end, like very different, right? So my reaction to Pope Leo was, first of all, I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I just lost all my money on my legal Pope betting. And then
I'm sorry,
my second reaction.
Hold on a second. What is that?
Pope bets. This is above board. There's also like, I didn't really get into this, but in Europe, like they were doing like Fanta Papa, like your fantasy. I don't know. TikTok was doing this. In America, it's illegal. So I did this legally. We were basically in the Pope Crave Discord. We were just betting, like, fan art and memes over like, which Papabile contender you thought would be Pope.
Who did you bet on? Who did you have your memes on?
I bet on I think the most logical choice of the front runners, which is always a bad choice because the quote, enter the conclave of Pope, leave a cardinal. None of them were going to become Pope. But I bet it on Caroline, the Secretary of State.
Okay.
And
yeah,
from what I gathered of like the Vaticanist reporting, he was a front runner for the first like 2 votes. But there is, and they said this in conclave, which is true, but and Caroline is not like the most progressive, but none of the progressive candidates or the Francis like Bergoglian candidates were going to like be able to win. I knew this. I just wanted to win memes. I was being very practical and pragmatic here, but Caroline didn't end up being able to like break through because he is Italian, and there is like a huge anti-Italian bias in electing a pope. It's just fascinating to read about.
Too many Italians.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I
so
think
like
especially in the current church.
Yeah, where the future of the church is really in like the global, south.
okay, so the non-Italian cardinals are like, hell no,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
Italian popes.
And
Okay.
and Pope Francis specifically diversified like the nationalities of the cardinals. I'm gonna butcher the actual numbers, but it went from like 40-ish countries represented to 70-ish countries represented amongst
Stacked the
cardinals.
courts.
Wow,
He
so
stacked
that
the
spread the
courts in
power.
December, January. I forgot exactly when, but he was cardinals left and right. But if you read into the Vaticanist reportings, like the Bergoglian, so the Francis appointed like cardinals couldn't rally behind like a candidate. Like they were they were split between two pretty progressive contenders, and so Leo emerged as kind of, I forgot his exact role in the Vatican. Sorry, Pope Crave, don't even fucking know like what his exact role was. But it was that because he spoke English and he speaks all these different languages that like everyone knew him. So all the cardinals would actually go to him to like have these conversations, and he did emerge as an actual like community broker figure in the conclave, which led to
I was reading the big piece in the New York Times where they were breaking it all down. They were like, he didn't really have massive name recognition. He certainly was not one that was being thrown around by like people on the internet. But because of his position, because of his position in the Vatican and that he was multilingual, whatever, that he actually had some pretty strong relationships, and he was not. When he gave his speech, it was not like a standout speech. It was not, Ray Fiennes giving his speech in conclave, but it was apparently the side conversations that he was having when they would, do their vote and then go off and like have their little convos in the shadows. That was where that's where his strengths were.
Yeah. Again, bridge builder. Was it Nolan that said that? Dolan, sorry. Christopher Nolan, the Cardinal. No.
Christopher Nolan.
But I feel like there was a question here. Oh, how do I feel about Pope Leo? Let's bring it back, Susan. Just, I guess.
We'll see.
We'll see. Like I think you let the works of someone's administration prove themselves. So like, I mean, I said this on Vulture and I got in trouble for saying it, but I was like, we'll cyberbully him if we need to.
They were like, we're not going to write that.
Oh, they did, and then I got in trouble
for. Then she got bullied for it.
Yeah, I got bullied. I was like, well, I mean, I will, but I mean, I think what's been cool we've had some interesting conversations with like Italian like journalists and figures in politics about like who like reach out because of fucking Pope Crave. But we have very strong stances about certain topics. And queer like queerness is one of them, but topics that it's like among many that the Catholic Church has a huge impact on globally, but also very locally in Italy, and how like I don't know, like what our role is in memes and whatever to like make sure that those messages remain visible, and things that we can actually do about that.
So we know that Leo watched Conclave. Do you think there's a world where he has any idea about Pope Crave?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
No. We
it's in some sort of group chat. Like
yeah.
I mean, I'm sad to say that I'm now very confident that some of my Father James Martin has definitely seen Pope Crave.
Oh my God.
Dad, Father Jim.
The reach of Pope Crave is a little bit us being like, oh, they're definitely dropping it in the group chat.
Yes.
They're unfortunately very aware.
Pope Crave is that girl.
That bitch.
She is that bitch. And I have another question for you. Okay, what character from Conclave is Pope Leo? Or like, is there a combination?
He's not Bellini.
No.
Yeah, Caroline was Bellini, I think.
Yeah. I was like, maybe a little bit of Lawrence. A little bit of
I see that. The
a little
reluctant
bit of
Pope.
Benitez, obviously the kind of dark horse who comes out of, people are like, what?
I've seen that comparison made a lot on the internet. I don't know. I'll tell you the shitty answer I gave, like when Pope Leo was announced, like 2 hours later, like I had the call with Vulture and they immediately asked me like, so what Pope Leo memes can we make? And I was like, he's been Pope for 2 hours. I don't fucking know.
Vulture, calm down.
But they asked me too, like, what who do you think like he is in Conclave? And I was like, I really couldn't 2 hours, I don't know. And at the time I was like, Tremblay ? Because not for the like, and the reason I said Tremblay was in the script, Tremblay has a Twitter account and he's like, oh, it's trending. And I was like, because this Pope, like one of the first things I then learned about him was that he had his own Twitter account where he's fighting with his, MAGA brother.
Yes.
And he has he retweeted like a Spanish language Snoopy meme. And I was like, oh, first Snoopy meme. First Snoopy Twitter Pope. So I was like, he's online. Man,
yes.
That man is tweeting. So I said Tremblay because I was like, they both tweet, I guess.
They both tweet, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I think just kind of looking at this conclave's process and who Leo was, I was like, okay, he's got a little bit of Lawrence because of Lawrence's position with the Vatican. That his role, whatever the fuck it was, little bit of Cardinal not Diaz, that's the actor, what's his name, Benitez because of the dark horse. It was kind of a mixture.
I think that's a actually good analysis. It holds up better than Tremblay because he tweets.
But also that But also that I cannot believe the Pope has a MAGA brother that he's fought with on Twitter.
Yeah. The son of having a brother from Florida.
No, that's they asked like, is it unusual for a Pope to be from America or from North America? Yeah. And I said, not only is it unusual, I think it's immoral. Like, I should not be seeing the Pope. I should not be seeing the Pope's MAGA brother who lives in Florida, like on Fox News.
The Pope should not have a brother who lives in Florida.
Like that's immoral.
It's strange. And also, like, speaking in English, no. No, it's weird.
The answer is no because, Chicago already gasses itself up too much.
Oh,
we don't
I'm
need to
from
give
Chicago. I was Catholic, raised in Chicago. Oh, I know.
Oh. I've got Al Capone, Obama, and now Pope.
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and Italian beef.
Yeah. Also, this is late, but I was waiting for a chance to fact check the OSB. But as the Catholic advising you at all times, no, you were like, I don't remember what Leo was. He was like the dicastery for bishop. So he was appointed by Pope Francis to multiple dicasteries, which just means multiple like different sub roles of any kind of government. Like they just have a bunch of different it's like being a minister. It's like being a minister for something, like the dicastery for divine worship, like minister of this. So it's like a cabinet. Yeah, like I don't know, senator. What I don't know. I'm not American. Whatever the equivalent.
And then the Pope. Okay, so Pope Francis, he doesn't leave any clues, right? He's not like, maybe Prevost, but I'm not saying anything. Do you know what I mean? Like. The Pope who's outgoing, do they ever give any indication of who they would throw their weight behind? Like, did Francis choosing Leo for that position in the Vatican, was that an indication? Was that a clue?
It's a sign of trust for sure. I'd say that like what they do is like popes are in charge of like appointing new cardinals, and that's what we see in Conclave 2024. Like Benitez was the surprise cardinal that he appointed. I think that Pope Francis was basically like, I mean, Prevost, before he became Pope Leo, was, involved in like Pope Francis's politics. He was around. So I think, it's a show of trust. I think it's a little hint that he's like, I'd be okay if he became Pope after me. But it's not like, I mean, I don't think Pope Francis was quite playing the level of 5D chess that the dead Pope in Conclave 2024 was. But he was still playing something. Also, I don't know if I'm not supposed to be responding to the people in the chat, but someone asked, is there an Augustinian in Conclave? I think they meant the movie. They don't really indicate which orders they're from in the film, but there were for sure Augustinians in the real Conclave 2025.
Yeah, no, feel free to answer to chat if they're asking questions and I'm ignoring them. We know they're believers, but are they believers? I don't know. I mean, given what shit Justin Bieber's been up to lately, if Leo comes out and says, I'm a believer, I will be sus. I will be like, do you support Justin Bieber saying that he told Haley that she would never be on Vogue? Are you guys like super into pop culture outside of...
I do know exactly what you're talking about because I'm an ONTD expat.
Okay.
I used to be on ONTD, so this is my beat.
Yeah, this is your beat.
I have too much of a 9 to 5 to be doing that. Also, an ad just popped up, but I briefly saw U.S. jalapeno poppers. Yes, Leo is an Augustinian. So
yeah,
hello chat.
So there was at least one Augustinian in the conclave, and it was the Pope. I guess my response is we haven't checked. Have we checked like Pope Francis's like the headboard for his bed? Then maybe he was playing 5D chess for the new Pope.
If they had let us into his room in the Vatican, we could tell you in detail.
Yeah. So I need to ask, like, how the hell did this happen? Where you guys had boots on the ground at the Vatican? Was this just like a let's send it? Let's do this.
So we had people come to us. So when the conclave even before the conclave was announced, like USB and I were in the chat being like, should we go to Rome? And then we were like, okay, but we'll have better internet connection here. So we were like, okay, let's stay in our respective countries. We're not in the same country, to be clear. But we had people come to us like on all levels except physical. USB and I were in the Vatican as the conclave happened. The people came to us. So Pope Cravers, people who were in the Discord, people who contributed to the zine, people reached out to us through DMs and were like, hey, we're in Rome right now. Can we send you stuff? Do you want us to send you stuff? And we were like, yeah, please.
Yeah. It was a very diverse group of people from... So I know two of them actually like went on to do some press. One is her name's like Adriana. She's a comedian, stand-up comedian. Noella can fact check me while I'm saying this and correct me later. Adriana is a stand-up comedian from San Francisco. And then we had Amanda Contessa, who was studying journalism actually, which is so funny, in Rome. And we had like they did press, but we had way more people who were actually there from our Discord group, which is of the zine contributors and friends, and from other people who reached out via like Twitter DM to the account, who had been following the account since, I think like most of them since the film, like the baby days, that like did not want to be named, that were sending in like information and like sources and like
y'all
photos.
Have shooters. You do.
We do. It was crazy. That did not want to be named. There were various levels of being inside the Vatican and outside of it. So it was a fun community building project.
Yeah.
I think I was like, this just feels like very much continuing the spirit of like what zine making is and what meme making is like you get a bunch of people together to watch this chimney, and they're like all different types of backgrounds who like want to be in on it. And it's very
everyone can be a Pope Craver.
Yeah, exactly.
We had a potential Pope Craver in the chat, Aquarius. You can tell I don't know how to use Twitch, but I saw you. Yes, you can. When you're in Rome, feel free to add us at Pope Crave. Send us your picture of a cardinal,
Yeah,
we will
get the
supply
inside
him from his
scoop.
anonymity.
Yeah.
Get the inside scoop. I love, you know what? It's so great about this whole thing is like, it is very, it does feel very much of the times where like, this is an internet account that exploded. People who love spending time online, a lot of us who are chronically online, who like formed this community. And a lot of people who aren't Catholic necessarily, who probably maybe didn't even see Conclave, who don't know anything about the church, but like wanted to be a part of something. Like we are Pope Crave. We are Pope Crave. I mean,
Kat,
even
you're
when
Pope Crave.
even when I was covering it on stream, I was like, I'm only excited about this not because I'm a Catholic anymore, not because I like have a connection to the faith of the church, but it was like the fun theatrics of it all. It was like the community of it, the jokes, the just, I don't know, camaraderie that was formed through us all doing smoke watch, like checking in to see like when I was on stream, we had a stream or a YouTube live channel of the smoke pulled up where it was like, okay, if there's any changes, come in here and ring the bell. It was a very community. There was so much community aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
especially.
Yeah. Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is our every conversation. But we recently described ourselves as like USB said, Pope Crave is a movement. To which I added, we are a movement of joy.
Yes,
we are here to have fun, and everyone's welcome. Memes, join. And, USB was the third thing you wrote it down.
I mean,
it's folk culture. I mean, not to get too academic about it, but like zines and memes are all about folk culture. When you get people to participate around the globe to watch a chimney and then like feel activated, like they can actually participate in something that we truly have no fucking vote in. Like we don't get to decide who the Pope is, but it is a huge event that's going to impact like over 1 million and like 1.25 million, 1.5 million. Oh, sorry, 1 billion, 1.5 billion, whatever, of practicing Catholics, and then even more for people who are just not Catholic, right? Because of the status of the Catholic Church. That we were saying too. It's like we hope it's not an American Pope. Everyone says that because most of the American popes are trad cats. We're like, we really hope it's not. If it's a fascist Pope, damn, we're gonna have to really turn up the memes, to like really. Memes is praxis of that. But
we say Pope Crave is about 3 things: memes, material reality, and community.
Memes, material reality, and community. And exactly. I think there were a lot of us who were like, God damn it, are we gonna get a fascist Pope? Is fascism just everywhere, including the Catholic Church? And then when that didn't happen, I think it almost felt like, look, we don't know how Leo's gonna be, but it felt like a spot for those of us who aren't Catholic or aren't part of the church, where it's like, okay, this seems good. This seems like a sign that we are not falling into just total fascist times, and there may be a way through here. And before we wrap up, I want to talk about your charity. So it is in support of Intersex Human Rights Fund, Freedom Fund, and Librarians and Archivists with Palestine. Is there a link or anything? Because I want you guys to, first of all, promote whatever you want to promote, and then also tell us about this charity.
Yeah, I can start and USB can add on. So we are not an incorporated charity, but we have a collection of charities that the zine is profiting, that we will be donating to. And so those are the 3 main ones. We also have on our Twitter, which we can share, but we have a list of broader charities that the Discord has supported or recommended. So like for example, Outreach, Dignity USA, like these are LGBTQ plus charities. But the 3 charities that we chose for the zine to profit. So this is like all the money that we get from the zine that's like after production costs goes to these charities. And they were chosen because they were thematically relevant to the community and to the film. So Intersex Human Rights Fund is a great organization. Oh, they're they work with the Estrella Foundation, and there's an intersex character in the film, and there's a lot of intersex fans and people in our community, so it made sense. The Freedom Fund is an anti-modern slavery organization. They also do great work. Made sense, particularly as a lot of people in the global South experience human trafficking. I mean, I won't get it. I'm a human rights lawyer in my real world, so I could talk about that, but we won't. And then we had the Archivists and Librarians for Palestine, which USB can tell you more about than me, but is a great organization that kind of works with the goal of Pope Crave and like USB and I's kind of joint pen name, La Patron Mignette. Like all the projects we do exist to kind of promote marginalized voices, queer voices, and the projects of creation, creativity, including zine making, arts, and the works. And so we felt it was very important to support a community and support organization that's promoting those elements in a community that's currently undergoing genocide.
What do I have to add on to that? Because that was the good attorney
That was
spiel.
a great answer.
Yeah, we can drop the link. It's just conclavezine.bigcartel.com. It's I think the pinned link on our Twitter. So we you can right now purchase like the digital fanzine, which is just like we have the physical version, which is like still shipping out. And the digital version is like I'll send it to you in like 24 hours. It really is me and like two of my friends as gremlins packaging everything and burning our skin over these wax seals, like putting it all together. So we are like sold out of like the physical zine. Like we're just completing the people who pre-ordered it back during Oscar season. We're like people really interested, so we there's a Google form somewhere, I think it's tinyurl.com/conclavezine, where we like floated the idea of like, well, if you're really interested in a second printing, we could do it. There's lots of logistics behind it, but we'll do it. And the interest has been really crazy. There's been over like 1,000 respondents, so I was like, okay. The original run of this has done over 55,000 in sales of which all net profit. Like I'm losing money on this, like personally, because I'm also paying out of my pocket because I want to give artists some money too.
Yeah.
Because I think all labor should be paid. But for the zine itself, all the net profits of the zine, which is like probably like 45K. For this first run is like going to of the zine sales is going to the 3 charities and nonprofit organizations that Noelia described. If we do the second print run, which has over 1,000 respondents, I'm like, okay, then we could like raise another. In my mind, I'm like, we can make more. We can send more money to like these charities. Like over 1,000 like interest forms. I'm like, okay, that would be like another like 30,000, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do it to give it. So if you're interested in that, you can fill out that form, and there'll be more information coming that way through email. I will say that there's also like these little merch tiers that we had, and so they benefit. I let the designers of the merch choose which organizations they personally wanted to benefit. So we have Caritas Internationalis, Anti-Recidivism Coalition Firefighter Fund.
Yeah, we did work with them.
Like a trans Italian organization, the Samir Project, Palestine Children's Relief Fund, etc. So the main 3 that the zine itself benefits are the ones that Noelia described. I will just expand a little on the Freedom Fund, which I kind of chose specifically for the work in the Congo, because that's a place that's mentioned as where Cardinal Benitez has done part of his ministry, and like issues like the cobalt trade there, like I'm very invested in. So yeah, that's it.
All great groups, ones that we have some of those we have fundraised for in this community or in adjacent leftist communities on Twitch. So that is totally up our alley here. And y'all, it was so fun talking to the both of you. You are both amazing. You are doing great work in your day-to-day jobs, and also the magic that you have brought us through Pope Crave. So I just want to thank you. This was such a fun conversation to have, my community. I hope that you all enjoyed this. I'm glad that we were able to connect, and we will see you on the internet.
Oh,
See you
will
online.
unfortunately see us.
It was a lot
Thank
of
you so
fun.
much. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Pope Cravers in the chat.
Yeah, Pope. There are definitely Pope
Love
Cravers in
you.
the chat. They were very excited for this.
Thank you. Yeah, thank y'all for making this happen. This was a fun chat.
Hearts to you both. See you later.
Heart.
Bye. How fun was that, you guys? What a great chat. That was nice. They're both, you know what? Okay, not to sound weird. Both of them, I got the sense right away we would be friends. Yes. Those are two people that I just know there's so much that we could talk about and vibe with. Wait, they were so cool. I knew they were going to be cool though. You know, I had read enough interviews with them, and I have been following Pope Crave that I was like, oh, these are two people who are the perfect fit for a community like this, having a conversation on Twitch. So I'm glad that we were able to make that happen. So glad. I feel kinship with Tumblr girlies. I do. All the Tumblr girls, gays, and theys, you know, that was Pope Crave. Indeed. So thank you again to Susan, Yo SB, and Noelia for popping on and having that convo. And now let me think about what I want to do next. Okay, let me pull up my stuff here. I already need another coffee. Now we need Farley. He's still sleeping. DeReal Woke Bay, thank you for the 6 months. 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 Thank you for the... Oh, God. I'm doing loopy. I'm doing... When I'm tired, I'm like, thank you for the 6 months. Okay, what are we doing next? Let's see. We have... News. Okay, we've got updates to Diddy's trial. Okay, I need to run to the bathroom. We're gonna watch this. Do you know what? Miss Rachel has been doubling her support. She has been tripling her support. She has been quadrupling her support. She is an example of someone who she saw what was going on, and she went, I cannot stay silent. And I feel like the last week in particular, I have seen her all over my timeline as she makes, as she makes videos and other content imploring world leaders to fucking do something. Like, this is a children's entertainer. She is a YouTuber who is doing more than a lot of those who are in leadership. If you have a problem with Miss Rachel, I have a fucking problem with you. Okay? Meet me Meet me in the parking lot behind the mall at 3 o'clock if you have a problem with Miss Rachel. I mean, look at how, just look at how precious this is.
Sleep, Rahaf. We're so tired.
Oh.
This is Miss Rachel, hanging out with her new friend, Rahaf.
Amazing.
Miss Rachel is like
Okay, I'll be
YouTube's
right
Mr. Rogers, with millions of subscribers and billions of views.
Can you nod yes?
And Rahaf is a 3-year-old double amputee from Gaza. She lost her legs when her home was bombed, and months later was medically evacuated to the U.S.
إحنا رايحين على أمريكا عشان نكمل العلاج.
Miss Rachel saw a video of the little girl, now living with her mom and a host family in Missouri, watching her show.
She's just so precious. Hopping like a bunny, and she was kind of hopping on the couch.
And arranged to have Rahaf come visit her in New York. Rahaf is part of a new group of fans Miss Rachel discovered last year, refugees of the war in Gaza.
I was tagged in a video of a toddler and a brother and a sister watching in a tent, and I saw the toddler swaying and the little girl smile, and I was just so touched that I could bring a little bit of joy to them during unimaginable circumstances.
Did you know that you had this audience?
No, I was completely surprised. Someone wrote, "This made me realize that these kids are like mine and like ours." And I know so many parents that enjoy our show feel the same way. They say, as a mom, I just think about, I see my babies. All children are worthy.
She's posted more and more about Gaza.
I'm kind of confused because she had some TikToks and I tried to pull them up, but it said that they were removed. I don't know why.
As the war has gone on, highlighting the humanitarian crisis and launching a fundraiser for kids. She's gotten supportive comments, but there's also been backlash.
The bullying is so bad. It's so bad. But I can handle this.
You seemed very emotional about.
You know, something I've noticed too. So I had my editor over probably a couple months now. I was like, I need you to start posting more clips on my socials that are not just like silly gaming moments, because we have a lot of those on stream. But like, if you're looking at my Instagram or my YouTube or whatever, you don't get a sense of like the actual streamer that I am, right? Like the type of commentary I do. So she has like posted more of a variety of stuff. And I've noticed that the posts where I'm talking about Palestine and talking about Gaza, there are people who I guess I didn't expect because I haven't seen them say anything or like whatever. Maybe I haven't kept up with all these people who are sharing them, who are liking those posts, who are commenting on those posts. And that's the type of thing that makes me feel, I mean, there's so little to feel hopeful about, but makes me feel hopeful that more people I know in my personal life, just normie people, they see all this and they are morally against the grave injustices that they are witnessing.
The bullying that you said you'd gotten for speaking out.
The idea that caring for one group of children means that you don't care for another group of children is false, and it's so hurtful because
there's been a huge shift for the past week. I have noticed that as well. Of course, it's because the situation in Gaza is so dire, and to be clear, it has been dire. It's not as if Israel suddenly changed what they've been doing. They have been starving Palestinians for the last, more than a year. They've been withholding aid. They've been bombing cancer centers. They have been bombing all structures. So I think it's important to recognize that, it's not as if Israel is doing anything different, but there has seemed to be a shift in the last week, at Cannes Film Festival compared to other, because y'all know I keep up with all the major events that happen in the film industry. I've noticed that the statements that Cannes is more political than I've seen at a lot of other film, like major film events.
I care so deeply for all kids.
In April, an advocacy group called Stop Anti-Semitism called her a mouthpiece for Hamas.
A group accused you of essentially acting as a foreign agent and asked, for the Attorney General to investigate you for spreading propaganda.
Obviously, that's not true. I care deeply about
Maybe when you have Smotrich and other Israeli leaders who are just straight up outlining their plans for genocide, who are straight up saying we are going to destroy everything in Gaza, which they have been saying. But maybe it's at a point that people who have ignored it or played dumb just no longer can, because there is no denying. There is absolutely no denying Israel's intentions, just as there's been no denying their intentions for a very long time. They are so openly evil on Maine. Like, if it weren't such a serious situation, it would be almost laughable how cartoonishly evil they are publicly. Like, there is no hiding. There is no disguising the intent for their plans of annihilation.
all children, Israeli, Palestinian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian. I wouldn't be Miss Rachel if I didn't speak up for them and speak up for all of them.
Miss Rachel has also used her platform to express grief over the deaths of Israeli children and said she's met with the family of hostages still in captivity.
Oh, she's keeping the walker with her.
Here in the U.S., Rahaf was fit for prosthetics and has learned how to walk again.
But you know what? It doesn't even matter. It does not matter if you make sure to mention that you care about all children, right? If Miss Rachel or whoever else is like, obviously I care about all these. It doesn't matter, because just the mere fact that she cares for Palestinian children has these psychopaths up in arms. They don't give a fuck. They don't care if you condom hummus. They don't care if you talk about the hostages. They don't care about any of that shit, because the second that you mention that you have any empathy for Palestinians, it's like, see ya.
Palestinian Children's Relief Fund helped her and her mom get out. But her dad and
so don't cater to them. That's the point. It's like, do not cater to these people who are just, they're just fucking evil. There are no words to describe. So do not in any capacity try and cater to their whims. Try and base your morals off of hoping that they will accept you, that they won't harass you and come after you. Like, they're doing this to Miss Rachel, man, okay?
Brothers are still in Gaza.
ورهف محظوظة كتير طبعا إنه رهف قدرت تطلع، بس في أطفال تانيين لسه موجودين بغزة، وبتمنى إنه هدول الأطفال إنه يطلعوا يتعالجوا زي رهف. طبعا في أطفال كتير لسه ما زالوا طبعا تحت الركام. أنا بشوف هذا الإشي طبعا لأنه بشوف أولادي كيف مجرد ما يحكوا مع رهف ولا حتى يشوفوها إنه ماسكة خبزة ولا بتاكل بيصيروا يسألوا فيها. طبعا هذا الإشي كتير بوجعني.
Anything is possible for Rahaf, and she has healthy food, and she has clean water, and she has wonderful medical care. This girl is thriving. We have to do this for all kids because they all deserve that.
I'm convinced that the visceral attacks against Miss Rachel, or Miss Rachel's face for her speaking up for children, has made more regular people aware of how unhinged these are. Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. Miss Rachel is very popular. She has millions of followers. There are a lot of adults, a lot of parents who love her, who pay attention to what she's saying and doing, and seeing the attacks against someone like her only further exposes how unhinged Zionists are towards people who express empathy and care for those in Palestine. Like, you can't play the I'm a normal human being when you are harassing and saying hateful things about a woman who is crying over the murders of thousands of children, of like children who are starving to death, who are being denied the aid that they should not be denied. Like that psycho account calling for an investigation on her. Yeah, stop anti-Semitism. That woman is fucking insane. That woman, like, honestly, when I can, like, libs of TikTok or the stop anti-Semitism account, it is hard to say who is more villainous. Maybe two of the most evil women online. The woman who called Ilhan Omar the N-word. Yeah. Yes, where you look at them and you just go, how are you this vile? How are you this vile? Is there never at any point do you look in the mirror and go, damn, I'm pretty evil. Whoa. Brianna Wu is up there as well. I feel like I cannot even think about her without my fists curling up in rage. Without, like, I just shrivel. I just shrivel up thinking about the vileness that emits from that person. First time I heard about Miss Rachel was over a year ago. I was at my friend's daughter's 3rd birthday party. My friend, who's a Zionist, went on a hateful rant about how Miss Rachel was raising money for the children of Gaza. She said, what about the children of Israel? I've never looked at this friend the same way since. Yeah, man, you just kind of stop and go, how do we diverge this much? Do you hear yourself? I would argue Brianna Wu isn't evil as much as immensely stupid. Both. Never underestimate stupid people's ability to be also evil, you know? Like, she is very stupid, but the way, like, when, oh, dude, there was one tweet. Oh, I can't even talk about it. There was one tweet where she, after doing her genocidal propaganda tour in Israel, tweeted about the food, like this, she was trying to make a joke about the actual starvation, the actual like food being withheld, and was talking about how at the Israeli airport all she had available was McDonald's. It was evil. Like, that was an evil tweet. Because you knew exactly what she was trying to do with her little joke. It was so gross. It's like you look at that shit and you go, oh my God, you are not human. It is shocking your capacity to be so foul, so fucking horrid, just morally reprehensible on a scale that like, it's not unimaginable because there's enough people who are on that scale of evil, but it's just still shocking. It's still shocking to be like, God damn. How do I exist at the same time in the same place as a person like this? Israel MP today, every baby in Gaza is an enemy. Oh. Dude, when we were at EDC, there were a bunch of keffiyehs, there were a bunch of Palestinian flags, like, as there have been the last the last 2 years, there was one Israeli flag, and there were a lot of people around me who noticed it and were not vibing with it. Like throughout the entire festival, there were probably 100,000 people there. There was only one, but there was one. And I was upset. Like, it was upsetting to see, of course, because you're at a place where it's like peace, love, unity, and respect. And you're going to fly that flag, which clearly you are like, that is a statement, right? You are brandishing the Israeli flag at this point. That is a statement that you are making. And so I left and I went to the bathroom and I was just like, oh, fuck this. And I came back and they were gone. And I wonder if someone had come up to them and been like, get that shit out of here. I don't know. It was not Plur. No. It was certainly not Plur. I've been seeing some nasty fucking videos from EDC more than usual. That's really disappointing. That was the only thing that happened during the weekend where I went, this is not Plur. Oh, you still have the speaking to? Oh yeah, let me take that off right there. All the Israel flags were at the Psytrance stage. It's like, are you being hypnotized into, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Hypnotized into supporting genocide, or like, what's going on here? Digital Deluxe, thank you for the 32 months. I think I saw it when Willow was watching an EDC vid last night. Very disappointing. Yeah, it's like EDC, especially as a festival, is about Plur, which is peace, love, unity, and respect. Okay, that's the motto. That's the MO. And there's a lot of trans flags, a lot of queer pride, a lot of solidarity for Palestine, right? All of these very like leftist ideals, solidarity, etc. You'll see a lot at a place like EDC. And so seeing this Israeli flag that was being brandished like at the front of a crowd, it was jarring. It was very unplur. There was an Israeli pride parade in New York a few days ago. The governor, A.G. Schumer, and Gillibrand were all there. Of course, I can't express how disgusting it was to see them pointing about loving Israel. Oh yeah, you know the whole, if you were gay in Gaza, they would throw you off a roof. How do you as a queer person support Palestine? They would kill you. It's like, actually, there are queer Palestinians that Israel's killing because they are killing indiscriminately. It doesn't matter. I was sad to see Eurovision still had Israel as a contender and it received a lot of votes. Yeah, I think didn't they come in second? At least they didn't win. If you were gay in Gaza, Israel will blackmail you also. Yeah, no, I think we've fully debunked the asinine arguments that you should not support Palestine if you are a queer person. Those were fake votes, though. Those were fake votes. Okay, let's tune in here. Dude, well, actually, I need to play this because this was so embarrassing. This was Juliette Binoche, who's the Cannes 2025 jury president, and she's asked a question about why she didn't sign a global film industry open letter condemning the silence over the deadly impact of Israel's ongoing military campaign in Gaza.
You will maybe understand it a little later.
Huh?
So, what is your specific question?
My question is, was there a reason you chose not to sign this letter? You're well known for speaking out about causes. You are well known for speaking out about a variety of causes that are close to your heart. Was there a reason for you not to sign this letter?
Yeah. You might
Would you
find out
share it
later.
with us? Would you share what the reasons behind it were?
I cannot answer you.
Okay, yeah, wow. So this reporter, I think, journalist said, you are known for supporting a variety of causes. Why did you not sign this letter condemning Israel's actions in Gaza? And she just kept being like, you'll find out later. What does that fucking mean? And then she said, I cannot answer you. At least she did not go, no, I'm not answering that question next. But Juliette Binoche revealed what is sadly the case for a lot of people who are high profile and who have at many points spoken up, been active in a number of causes, but stay silent on Palestine, where she was like, I cannot answer you. Which is like kind of truthful. I mean, she can answer, but I guess the admission of I cannot answer you is, yeah, no, I know. I know that it is. I understand what you are asking me, and I am cowardly. Like, I cannot respond. She knows her own response is awful if she doesn't even have the backbone to speak on the issue. Right. Like, she's recognizing, I cannot answer you. I have no answer to that question. We know the answer, but she is, even by saying that, going, yeah, I have been silent on it. I have been silent on it, even though I speak out on a lot of other issues. Did she think this was a diplomatic or PR safe answer? Bro, I don't understand the you'll find out later. Like, is she putting something out? Has Juliette Binoche secretly been working on a Vanessa Redgrave style documentary about the crimes of Israel? Who knows? I cannot translate what that means. It's very strange. It's very awkward. She did the I can't answer, I'm in big trouble meme. Is she making a threat? I don't know. It's very bizarre. You'll find out later. What do you mean by that? What does that mean? Okay, wait. Where's my queen, Angie Jolie? Hold on. She had, I think I retweeted this. Yes. Angelina Jolie at Cannes champions global cinema at the Chopard Gala. Anything to make it more accessible is necessary and welcome. I love international cinema, Jolie told the star-studded assembly of guests. We are brought to other lands, into private moments, even on the battlefield. We connect and we empathize. I think of films like My Father's Shadow, set during the 1993 Nigerian election crisis, which is premiering here at Cannes. Anything that is possible to make international cinema more accessible is necessary and welcome. And none of us are naive. Jolie, whose contributions as a humanitarian are as vaunted as her acting career, continued. We know that many artists around the world lack the freedom and security to tell their stories, and many have lost their lives, like Fatima Hassouna, killed in Gaza, Shaden Gardoud, killed in Sudan, and Victoria Amalina, killed in Ukraine, and so many other extraordinary artists who should be with us now. We owe all of those risking their lives and sharing their stories and experiences a debt of gratitude because they have helped us to learn and to evolve. Yeah, I mean, I think her comments on like the importance of international cinema, especially at a time when like Donald Trump is threatening tariffs, when protests are shut down at film festivals by a crowd who are there to learn, to empathize, to be enlightened, and then scream at protesters who are bringing awareness to the atrocities in a place like Palestine. Like, international cinema is more important than ever at this moment. That movie she was in last year. Maria. Yeah, she played. She played the glorious Maria Callas. Yeah, Angelina Jolie, that is my mother, okay? She has for a long time been really one of the few celebrities who I admire, not only her not only her career, but the endless humanitarian work she has done. She has talked about Palestine for a long time. She is not I am a UN ambassador. I'm a humanitarian I'm a humanitarian worker, activist, etc., but I stay silent on Palestine. Her including Sudan is how you know she's really about it. Yep. She is consistent. That's true. And I will say, the more that people speak out, the more that people call this what it is, the more obvious it becomes with those who are intentionally remaining silent on Palestine. It gets harder and harder and harder to ignore. And especially those who speak out about every other issue, who make other causes, who lend their voices to other causes, but say nothing about what Israel's doing. And then this also happened at Cannes. An emotional Kevin Spacey speaks out about blacklisting. This fucking man, okay? If I have to hear one more man receive an award and talk about the oppression that they have faced while they are receiving an award at a very prestigious film festival, mind you, if I have to hear them go on and on about what victims they are, I'm going to do something that will land me in prison. That is what will happen. Here is him comparing himself to Dalton Trumbo. Y'all remember Dalton Trumbo? Okay, the screenwriter Dalton Trumbo, who was blacklisted for his beliefs. He was targeted by McCarthy, okay, by the McCarthy 1950s rooting out communism in Hollywood era. And that is who Kevin Spacey is comparing.
I've been thinking about someone else who did what he could to make this a better world, and that was someone you saw earlier on the screen tonight, Kirk Douglas, great American film star. Now, it was a long, long time ago, so we have to try to remember the pushback that he received after he made...
Yeah, let's also not forget that Natalie Wood's sister alleged that Kirk Douglas raped her sister, Natalie. Okay. So, anyway.
The brave decision to stand up for a fellow colleague, the two-time Oscar-winning screenwriter Dalton Trumbo, who had been blacklisted. From 1947 until 1960, he was blacklisted. Blacklisted, we know what that means, right? It means that he could not find work as a writer in Hollywood for 13 years.
Yeah. What's the difference between Kevin Spacey and Dalton Trumbo?
Even after he was warned that if he tried to hire Trumbo as the credited screenwriter for the film Spartacus in 1960, he would be called a commie lover and his career and professional status would be canceled, Kirk Douglas took the risk and would later say, and I won't do my Kirk Douglas impression, but he said this: It's easy for us actors to play the hero on screen. We get to fight the bad guys and stand up for justice. But in real life, the choices are not always so clear.
Oh my God, I hate him.
There are times
I
when
hate
one
him.
has to stand up for principle.
Bro, what principles are you standing up for? He said, it's very nice to be back. Spacey then veered off in his acceptance to speech to wag a finger at the WGA West and how they punished some scribes during the 2023 strike. Blacklisting has happened more recently to a writer by the name of Tim Doyle. Here's what Tim Doyle did, okay? A comment on a private Facebook group was made public as writers called out Tim Doyle for the questionable post that he made where he used lynching imagery. This is a person that in his fiery speech where Kevin Spacey's like, it's good to be back, also is making mention of, okay? He posted a meme that has been described as epically horrible, racist self-martyring. And the comedy writer in question claims he was just trying to get a laugh about suicide. A writer posted happy 100th day to all who observe as a comment to mark the duration of the WGA strike. A writer posted happy 100th day to all who observe. Tim Doyle was among the first to comment, and he responded, I just got my tree up, with a black and white image featuring a man hanging from a tree in what appears to be a lynching. So a lot of people called him out and went, the fuck is this? Several days passed before he posted an apology. And Keith Powell, who was one of the 3 admins of the group, said that the situation is indicative of a larger issue in the industry. I have absolutely no interest in canceling or taking down Tim Doyle. Why I'm willing to talk about it is because I don't want to live in a world where the Tim Doyles have been educated and thrived. He's indicative of the people who've risen to the top in the WGA and have decided to ignore, belittle, or not even acknowledge other people and writers of color, specifically because it's what they've been taught. It's a system that needs to be broken. This incident is an indication of that system and how he's been able to thrive in that system. They ignore people of color when they say you are doing something culturally insensitive. This is how writers' rooms put out things that are culturally insensitive because people in positions of power have been granted immunity and think if I just ignore it, it will go away. So, just a little sidebar as to who Kevin Spacey decided to mention in this speech where he's talking about him being a victim of blacklisting, the power of and bravery of Kirk Douglas, poor Tim Doyle, who was blacklisted. God, I'm just losing my mind. Gremlo, thank you for the raid. Thank you. Ginger raid. Thank you for the ginger raid. I hope y'all had a good morning. I am live because I just had a great conversation with the 2 people behind the account Pope CRAVE. So my VOD will be up later if you wanted to go listen to that conversation. And right now I'm talking about things that have been happening at Cannes Film Festival, the good, the bad, the ugly. And Kevin Spacey being emotional, receiving an award, talking about being blacklisted, comparing himself to Dalton Trumbo, who's blacklisted for being suspected of communism, and then also making sure to talk about Tim Doyle being a victim. That is certainly on the ugly side of things. It's just like, my God, the victimization, the self-victimization, the ego on these men like Shia LaBeouf, who, what did he say recently? Wasn't he like, I mean, we covered him earlier, but he said, why, something about why he wasn't welcomed back or something. He was comparing himself to someone else and was saying something about how he wasn't treated that way. I don't know. I am just sick of the gall of these fuck ass men. Okay. I am done. I am over it. Or as Sandwich would say, Canes. I am sick of it. And the thing is too, he's at Canes. Okay. He's at Canes. He just got an award at Cannes Film Festival and is crying about what a victim he is. History does repeat itself, but only if we allow it to, said Spacey. 2 weeks ago, the Writers Guild, in a vote with all their members, reversed their censure of Tim, and at the same time, Manuel invited me here to accept this award. Wow. Beautiful. Earlier, Spacey walked the red carpet with the press crowding around him. The actor made a statement in the scrum. I feel surrounded by so much affection and love. I've heard from so many friends and colleagues and co-stars in the last week since this award was announced. I feel surrounded by support, and it's very nice to be back. One reporter yelled, "Is this the beginning of a comeback for your career?" Spacey responded, "Well, I'm glad to be working, I'll tell you that." Oh, fuck off. Now I want chicken. Me too. Every time Sam pronounces Cannes Film Festival as Canes, I want chicken. Oh, fuck off. Oh, fuck off. That's how I feel about that. Oh, I'm so tired of them. I'm so exhausted by them. Okay, I've been wanting to watch this.
The International Court of Justice is holding a week-long hearing on Israel's obligations to provide aid to Gaza.
This is
on
from
Monday,
a couple weeks ago.
Envoy Amr Hijazi accused Israel of using humanitarian aid as weapons of war as Israel continues its devastating blockade.
That's really the heart of why Palestine and over 40
So the reason I want to watch this is because it's an interview with my friend, Sarah Aziza, who I've had on the stream before. And she recently released her memoir. It is called The Hollow Half. I am almost done reading it. It's The Hollow Half, a memoir of bodies and borders. And it's amazing. She is such a gorgeous writer. She has a gift. Truly, she's the type of writer where every word is chosen with such care. So I wanted to watch an interview with her.
It is not about the number of aid trucks Israel is or is not allowing
Lunette,
into the
happy
occupied
birthday.
Palestinian territory, especially Gaza. It is not about Israel destroying it is about Israel destroying the fundamentals of life in Palestine, while it blocks UN and other humanitarians from providing life-saving aid to the population. It is about Israel unraveling fundamental principles of international law, including their obligations under the UN Charter. It is about Israel turning Palestine, in particularly Gaza, into a mass grave for Palestinians and those coming to their aid.
We end today's show with a new memoir by the award-winning Palestinian-American journalist and author, Sarah Aziza. She was born in the United States as a daughter and granddaughter of Palestinian refugees from Gaza. Her new book is called The Hollow Half, a memoir of bodies and borders. In it, she examines her recovery from anorexia that she nearly died from in 2019 as part of the generational trauma experienced as part of her Palestinian family's history of exile. We welcome you to Democracy Now! It's an honor to have you with us. The Paris Review just published an excerpt of your new book, The Hollow Half. Congratulations on its publication. You have this quote, "You were dead, Sarah. You were dead." In October 2019, you entered the hospital. You were suffering from anorexia. Many believed it could be fatal for you. And that is not only so real in your body, but it has also become a metaphor for what you describe, your family, the post-traumatic stress disorder from what's happening in Gaza. Can you lay out what happened to you and how you broaden that to your family and people's experience?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amy. It's an honor for me to be here. Thank you for your work. Yeah, so the story does start with my body sort of being shattered and nearly erased by this mental health issue that I was dealing with that I thought, you know, according to the medical Western model, I accepted the diagnosis that this was an individual disease, something I needed to wrestle with and recover. But as I sort of trace in the book, even beginning in the hospital, I began to recover memories of my Palestinian grandmother that led to a curiosity, a deeper curiosity about my family's history in Gaza and Palestine, the greater Nakba. And as a daughter of the diaspora, I hadn't tied my own story so viscerally to the story of my people. Of course, I knew it, but sort of the understanding that many people in the diaspora have is we've crossed this threshold, this border, right? Whether it's a temporal border or a geographical border of we're the safe ones. We made it out, and you know we pray for Gaza, we maybe organize for Gaza, but somehow we're a little bit more protected here in the United States. But what this book really examines is both the incredible inspiration that I directly draw from my grandmother, who was an illiterate, disabled, small woman who survived the Nakba, the 1967 war, was displaced from Gaza. You know, sort of the kind of woman that's not held up to us in the United States or even, you know, maybe in broader culture as a hero and as a model. I was following the model of the American dream, the meritocracy. I was believed that if I could advance myself, you know, I could make my Baba proud, I could make my grandmother proud, but I didn't need to
Meritocracy.
tie my own story so directly to her. But what I
Krista CC, thank you for the gifted sub. There's one part in the memoir in particular that, I mean, there's a lot of parts that had me feeling deeply, but it's when she's younger, and it's the first time that essentially somebody, an outsider, points out her grandmother and her grandmother's ways, and also Sarah's Palestinian ways as being weird. There's like, her mom is white, and her mom's friend comes over one day and sees the grandmother sitting on the floor barefoot, like making food, and she just stares at her. And Sarah, as a child, is like noticing the way she's looking at her grandmother, and she's like, it's the first time that she thinks to herself, is this not normal? Like, is this weird? Is my family weird? And then she has a neighborhood friend, this little white girl, who makes mocking comments, and it essentially alters Sarah's perception of her family, of her grandmother, of herself. And I think it's something that if you grew up in a white suburb, in a white neighborhood, and you are of, a different culture, maybe mixed cultures, I think that's an experience that you may share. I certainly did, where I didn't want anything to do with my Chinese family, with Chinese culture. I very much so wanted to be completely American. I wanted to be seen as white, to fit in with white culture. I didn't like my grandmother. I would notice the way that she smelled, even though old people just smell. Like, that was not a thing that was particular of my Chinese grandmother, but I perceived it as like this embarrassing thing where she had an accent. She we would always eat Chinese food. Like that was always a given. And so that was something. Majority Report, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, y'all. What's up? What's up? I am right now watching a video on Democracy Now!, an interview with Sarah Aziza, who's a friend of mine, who wrote this incredible memoir called The Hollow Half. The Hollow Half, a memoir of bodies and borders. I will link. Let me link the Penguin House link. I really recommend reading this if you're looking for a new book. But anyway, I'm talking about this one part in the story, or in her memoir, where she's talking about the first time that she ever felt embarrassed by her Palestinian grandmother and her Palestinian heritage. And it was because a white neighbor of hers was mocking her family's weird cultural differences. And as a little kid, you know, you're affected by stuff like that. And anyway, so thus kind of began the journey into her rejecting her Palestinian side. And that is wrapped up in the trauma that led to her having a very, very severe eating disorder. She almost died from anorexia. She was hospitalized for months. That's the other thing too. If you do not know how eating disorders work, if you don't understand anorexia, this book will illuminate so much for you. I learned so much about how anorexia ravages a person's body and mind, how it is not as simple as like, not that I thought this, but it's not as simple as like just eat food, or, you know, why can't you get better? Like, the recidivism rate of those who enter treatment for eating disorders is very high because there's still not enough understanding and research and education around how eating disorders work. I know all too well my mom has had a lifelong struggle with anorexia. Yes, it is a lifelong struggle. Even when you have recovered, it is still something that it doesn't just like go away. Anyway, so her relating this to her childhood trauma, and anyway, it's really an incredible book.
I realized was that her suffering and her loss, but also her resilience, carried some of the keys that I needed to recover from my individual malady, and sort of reorient my life with Gaza and Palestine at its center, rather than falling for, I guess, the line of the American dream, which ends up being hollow and betraying most all of us, as your guests today, you know, sort of laid out in some very real, present ways.
And Sarah, could you talk about the title, The Hollow Half?
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. I mean, as I was just, you know, sort of alluding to, the hollowness is, there's many dimensions to it, I think. One of them is the hollowness of the hunger, right? And the anorexia that the book begins with. But it's also the hollowness of the American dream. And it's also the hollowness of this this idea of halfness, this idea of being half American, half Palestinian. By the end of the book, I'm sort of rejecting that. I'm sort of coming to understand that Palestinianness is a whole identity, and it speaks to every part of my life, whether I'm in the diaspora or outside of it. So yeah, it kind of unfolds the further the book goes along.
And as someone who works with translation from Arabic into English, you write about the Arabic word zikr, for memory. Can you talk about how memory in Arabic is a living thing?
I love that question. Yeah, the fourth chapter is named after this Arabic word dhikr, which means both to remember and to invoke. So the book begins with memory. It begins with recovering from the archive and the family archive, all that was sort of lost or left behind as my family moved from their ancestral home, which was destroyed and ethnically cleansed in 1948, into Gaza, and then after the '67 war, out of Gaza into Syria, Jordan, and eventually Saudi Arabia. So this is a form of memory, right? Recovering from history, what was erased or written over or discarded by the powers that be. But dhikr also means to invoke, so it was sort of an answering of a calling back to Palestine, realizing that Palestine really invokes the value system that I want to adopt as a Palestinian, but also anyone who seeks to defy empire and search for a different future for all of us. I think we're seeing every day how pressing and urgent the need for a different future is. So it's an invocation as well as a remembering.
Sara, can you talk about how you've kept in touch with your family in Gaza now, sharing their messages with the world? Talk about people like your cousin, Nabil, and how you've been translating his writing and his poetry.
Yeah, thank you for bringing my family into this conversation. Yeah, the book was, I started writing it in 2020, but I was still finishing it in 2023 when the genocide escalated. You know, we could say the genocide's been going on for decades, but so yeah, we have a lot of family in Gaza. My family's lost in the greater, like, you know, extended family, over 200 people. But there's
Where do they live?
They were in Nusrat refugee camp, Deir al-Balah, some of them in Khan Yunis, also in Jabalia, so all over. Of course, it's been unspeakably heartbreaking and horrific, and a deep challenge to find words. Actually, the dedication of this book is, "For Gaza, words fail." So I wrote this book, but I also recognize the limits of language. But as you beautifully brought to our attention, I did translate some of my cousin Nabil's poetry. He's been sending these missives, to me and my parents quite frequently from Gaza. And he's a pharmacist actually, but lost his job, of course, in all the destruction. But it turns out he's a poet as well. The ways that he speaks of his despair some days, his hope other days, his pain, his hunger most recently in this increasingly intense famine that he's facing. It was a gift to be able to publish some of his words. I hope to do more. As a Palestinian in the diaspora, I mean, I'm honored to have a book out. My cousin Nabil even messaged me saying they were proud, they feel remembered. But I think it's always so important to point back to the voices in Gaza. So I hope to do more of that, as my career goes on. I want to elevate and translate and bring Palestinian voices from inside the land to the broader community, yeah.
God, she's incredible. She's amazing. Her writing I've shared multiple times on the stream. I also can't remember the date when I had her on stream. We had a conversation, but I think it was at least a year ago, if you want to go back and try and find the VOD of that. But she has a website with a lot of her writing. She has written for a number of publications. She has poetry, of course, her memoir, which she's talking about here.
Could you talk as well about your cousin Haneen, who was 26 years old and set to graduate from college a few months after October 7th, 2023?
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. Haneen is Nabil's sister. She's also just this incredibly precious soul. She's continuing, to send us messages as well. But yeah, she was getting
November 14th, 2023. Oh my God. So that was like a month after October 7th. Wow. So a year and a half ago. Thank you, Marcy.
Ready to graduate from college, having survived so many wars and still being able to continue her education, then higher education. When the war started and they were displaced for the first time, she brought her graduation gown and cap with her, as they fled from one place to another. And I think that just speaks to this duality that Palestinians, particularly in Gaza and the greater historic Palestine, have to hold constantly. It's the same, hope that drove my father to, continue to overcome one obstacle after another, as I trace in the book. So Haneen is just such an inspiration to me. She has continued to educate her younger brothers, sort of like homeschool them throughout these displacements. And, I spoke to her on the phone somewhat recently, not as recently as I would have liked, as it's difficult, but, she still has high spirits most days. I know I don't want to sugarcoat it. Resilience is a complicated thing and it has its limits, but I would love to be half the woman that she is someday.
Sara, you write in your book about your father and grandmother's return to Gaza, to the smell of the sea, to the moment of joy. Can you talk more about their experiences and how you experience Gaza here? You were actually born here.
Yeah. Thank you. That's one of my favorite parts of the book, getting to reconstruct this moment. My father was born in Deir al-Balah, Gaza, and then in '67, when he was 7 years old, they were displaced to Saudi Arabia. But then as a teenager, he and his mother went back to visit Khan Yunis and Deir al-Balah. And, just this moment he describes of, he was living in Saudi Arabia, so around other Arabs, speaking Arabic. But when he crossed over and began hearing the Ghazan dialect and smelling the sea, his body remembered the sea, maybe in ways he didn't even know he was carrying. So, he just describes this feeling of aliveness, this familial sense of, I'm with my people again. He said, I wanted to run to each one and take their hand and tell them, I'm one of you, we're family. And from there, he discovers as a young man Palestine all over again, because this is a diaspora experience of trying to get as close to our land and our history as we can, with one set of obstacles after another, and each year and each decade it gets harder. But yeah, so I also got to revisit Palestine several times using the privilege of my American passport. I spent a few months in Nablus, and then my brother, father, and I were able to find the traces of our family village, which was destroyed in 1948. It's in rubble. The cemetery was razed by either a bulldozer or a tank, but there's still traces. And I think Palestinians everywhere are finding whatever way they can to continue to connect to that history and to bring that history into the present and to use that history to inform our hope for the future.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if you could talk some about the emotional changes that you've gone through as you see now the Israeli war, the massacres in Gaza continuing, and the rest of the world.
Sadly, yes. Thank you for the 3 months.
Refusing to do anything substantive about Israel, and also being here in the United States, where anyone who protests this genocide is immediately criminalized and persecuted, whether it's by universities or the government or even sometimes the media.
Or Shai Davide.
Absolutely. Well, again, this is one of the reasons I appreciate this programming. Is it's a place where I've seen courageous reporting and elevating of Palestinian voices when I'm not seeing a fraction of what we need to see. So thank you again. Yeah, it's been horrific. It feels like a privilege to even talk about how horrible it's been for me, because I know nothing compares to what the Palestinians in Palestine and specifically Gaza are going through. But it's propelled me to dedicate myself ever more to these stories, to preserving and defending all the beauty and the abundance that is Palestine. We are more than a genocide. We are more than Nakba. So it's, again, that duality of, in this book, there are many moments of joy and lushness and abundance, but also these moments of horror and heartbreak. And, that's really just, a small example of the larger scale of the Palestinian experience that you speak to. I think the last almost 2 years now has been this strange sense of deja vu, but on a scale, none of us ever wanted to imagine. There's this sense of the externalization of history, like this thing that I knew in my body and carried in my body and my DNA, of there is a force that's trying to erase us from the earth. There's a force that wants to silence our stories, that wants to silence anyone who would speak out, in solidarity with us. It's been
the footage in the background is just police officers fucking up protesters. Caroline, what did you study in school? I was a triple major of theater, French, and international studies.
In a very lonely and isolated sort of experience being a Palestinian in the U.S., again, not to privilege my suffering, but I think the world is starting to see what Palestinians and those who have been paying attention have always known, which is Zionism is a relentless and totalizing project. It won't stop until we're erased and we're gone. And there is no amount of nuance. There's not a modicum of nuance to Zionism. And as the U.S., which is also a Zionist country, has doubled down on its Zionist policies and intentions, both under Biden and now under Trump, I think that the lines are just clearer than ever. I hope that people understand, if they didn't before, that Zionism, as well as just like the U.S. imperial project, is a project of anti-life. You know, there's no life for Palestinians, and there's no life for many of us as long as these projects are allowed to go on. So I commend the courage of the students and the journalists and the academics and the everyday people on the street who've been standing with us. And I just hope that we can continue to push forward, because any hope that Palestinians have, it begins first and foremost with the people on the ground resisting the absolute brute force of empire, which is coming to bear with everything it has on Gaza, but also here in the U.S., that we need to stay steadfast.
And what has it meant to you that so many of those, for example, have been arrested, have been Jewish? That Jewish solidarity with Palestinians fighting what is taking place?
I mean, I think it just completely cuts out at the knees this argument that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. I think that, again, that's such a disingenuous argument. It always has been. You know, actually, the PLO charter in the 1960s that they issued, you know, sort of, this is the resistance group that was resisting Zionism. They said that anyone who is Jewish who lived on the land, you know, originally was considered Palestinian. You know, this is like, we've always been a pluralistic society, a multi-faith society. Again, this idea that it's a religious war or an anti-Semitic project, absolutely false. Of course, there's been, you know, there's an ancient Jewish community on historic Palestine. This is,
yeah,
you know,
and if you go back and like read the history of the early Jewish immigrants to historic Palestine, it was not one where they were met with violence from the indigenous Palestinians. They welcomed them in. Of course, they could not have prepared for the Zionist project that sought to remove them by any means necessary from the land. But it's important because it dispels the narrative that Palestinians are inherently anti-Semitic, that the history of Israel and Palestine is one of a clash of religions. It is not. It is about land. It is just that religion has been used as a cudgel. It has been used as a cover for the settler colonialist crimes that have taken place over the decades. So understanding understanding like what the environment was, how it was not immediately hostile when Jewish people started immigrating over from Europe to escape the to escape Christian European anti-Semitism, and they were welcomed in by the local farmers who lived in these villages, who did not view them as a threat to their livelihoods. Breaking Points just had an interview with a Jewish woman who was beaten in a protest by Zionists. Yes, I know who you're talking about, while also having a Palestinian man on, and it was beautiful, honestly. Yes. I mean, just the picture of like, here's a Jewish woman whose face was bloodied, who was beaten by a gang of Zionists in the name of protesting, like Zionists claiming that they are fighting anti-Semitism while they brutalized a Jewish woman. How does that line up? It does not.
Not about the identity of those that are massacring us, but it is about the massacre itself.
Even this conversation, a Palestinian woman and a Jewish woman. Yeah, Sarah is half Palestinian. Amy is Jewish. Sarah's husband, I think, is Jewish.
Massacres, genocide, ethnic cleansing, imperialism, these are wrong no matter who is perpetrating them. And we are ready to work, as you mentioned, hand in hand with anyone of any identity who wants to stand in solidarity. So we're grateful for those partners.
Yeah, being Jewish does not automatically mean that you are a supporter of Zionism. We have to dispel that until we are blue in the face, because that is what that is what the Zionist project relies upon, that conflation, that monolithing of all Jewish people. And it also is what leads to, it lends itself to anti-Semitism. When you have people who are like, hold on a second, I see what Israel's doing, and I'm being told that Israel works on, it represents all Jewish people. So therefore I, I'm feeling now this way towards Jewish people because I've been told that this is what they support, that this is being done in their name. Yep, they welcomed the ship with Holocaust survivors. Mohammed Hadid, Bella, and Gigi's dad talked about that experience, as well as his parents were Nakba survivors. Yes. And not all of the Jewish settlers in those early days turned around and stabbed their neighbors in the back, but there were certainly ones who participated in the, in the violent actions against Palestinians as they sought to drive them from the lands. If Zionism was Judaism, it would be the same word, but it's not. And I think reminding people too that Israel was only founded in 1948, that the modern Zionist leaders, the Zionist convention that formed in, where was it, Switzerland, I think? That was at the end of the 1800s. And that was, those were the people who were instrumental to installing Israel in historic Palestine. Like, this is not something that is thousands of years old. But of course, people who will try and use the Torah or other religious texts to lay claim to the land, whatever, okay, that is separate, though, from the actual political project of Zionism. That is still something that has taken place, took place in the last century. Sorry, I've been work lurking. What was the author's name? That is Sarah Ziza, who wrote a memoir titled The Hollow Half. And I'm going to relink that again. And that she is a friend of mine. I've had her on the stream before. I have shared her writing. If you're looking for something new to read, there you go. If you haven't read the founding Zionist documents in the 1890s, give it a try. Yes, Theodore Herzl is straight up is like, yeah, we're going to colonize that place. I mean, that's what's like astounding is you read the words of the founding Zionist leaders. You read the words of the early, the early leaders in Israel, right? Like David Ben-Gurion, etc. And then you listen to what those who are in charge today are saying, and they are saying exactly what it is. It's not complicated. It's not hard to decipher because they say in their own words. They're like, yeah, no, we gotta get the Palestinians out. Unfortunately, they can't be here. In order for us to do what we want to do, in order for us to establish Israel, gotta kick these people out. These people who are on the land, they gotta go. And then, of course, they made shit up like they're barbaric, that this is a land without a people without a land, that it's actually good we're gonna help civilize these brutes. It's for their own good. But they were straight up with that. They were going to be, in order to achieve the aims, the goals of Zionism, they needed to remove the Palestinians who were on that land and remove them by whatever means necessary, understanding that there were going to be Palestinians who did not want to be removed, who did not want to be kicked out of their homes. Where the to civilize them argument still works. I know. Someone had a question about, are you going on Noah Samson's stream? Somebody brought this up yesterday. I was gone this weekend, so I didn't know that this was happening. I don't really know him, so I'm not sure how to connect with him to see if like that's something that he would want me to do, to like pop on. I know a lot of people have been on. I know a lot of people are going on the fundraising stream because he's doing it for a week or however long. I can try. I can try to reach out and see like if he wants more guests. He's been doing God's work this week. Yeah, I saw yesterday that he had raised like $500,000, which is crazy. It's a lot. So, any hooser, oh, y'all. Oh, let's see what time we're at. We're at noon. My eyeballs feel heavy. I am fading. Fergalicious death. Dip. Man, I just wish I could get more sleep when I wake up early to do streams, because I have to do more morning streams this week. So tomorrow I think I can stream at night. Friday I gotta do a morning stream. Saturday, if I stream, will probably be morning, and then I gotta see what time my sisters are leaving on Sunday, because my sisters are coming into town this weekend. Tonight I'm supposed to go to Twitch invited me to another concert. It's Kendrick and SZA, and I had said yes. So I was supposed to do that tonight, which is also why I wanted to get a stream in this morning. So that's probably what, like 8 to 11. I don't think I would be able to stream at night. That's so cool. I hope it's a great concert. Yeah, I'm in my going to live music era. The last year, I've been like trying to go to concerts and stuff. And Amazon Music is trying to work more with Twitch. They're trying to get involved, and I'm trying to get involved. And so I think they have like an area at, oh fuck, what is it called? I can't even remember. Kendrick. SoFi Stadium. And so they have started to invite Twitch to concerts and be like, we'll give you a couple tickets. And then Twitch reaches out and is like, who wants to go? And you would be amazed how many, actually you probably wouldn't be amazed, but there are so many streamers who do not get excited by free tickets. Like, there is nothing that will get them out of their houses. Twitch must see you as a nice ambassador. Hopefully, I'd like to think that I represent well. All right, you guys. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't get to covering the Diddy trial updates. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Take a look-see-poo at that, and if I can stream tomorrow, then if I can stream tomorrow night, then I can get some gaming in. How do you get on the level to be invited to that stuff? Honestly, I have a great partner manager with Twitch, and I am a person who says yes to things. Again, a lot of streamers will not say yes. They will not go to stuff. So I'm a person who, they know that I will say yes, that I will respond, so they'll invite me to things. And I'm like, great. Thank you for streaming. You're so welcome. Thank you again to Susan and Noelia, who joined for for a fun conversation today. So if you missed that, that will be on the VOD. I will post it afterwards. And I'm going to send you guys to the Surfs TV. How about that? Also, apologies for the schedule. I am still post EDC recovery, and I also forgot my sisters are coming into town this weekend to visit. So, that's kind of why things are how they are this week. But that's how it goes. Okay. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being here. You know, look at you. Look at each and every one of you being here. I appreciate you. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie. Earlier, I thought I saw a ghost. That's what's going on with my brain. I'm going to be so for real. When I was having that conversation with Noelia and Susan, I thought I saw out of the corner of my eye a phantom, and I had to look twice, and I'm still not sure if there was not a ghost that was taking a shit in my bathroom. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye. Have a nice rest of your day. See yas.